Chapter 5648 Buzz. In the huge passage, endless energy spurted out, and Wanlong's nest stood in front of it and was pulled by the energy, shaking for a while. What a pure power of destiny! Looking at the energy gushing out, Tang Weiner couldn't help feeling ecstatic. Now that all the enemies have receded, this endless energy will be exclusively enjoyed by them. Long Chen, you have the power of dragon blood, so you should be able to open the 10,000 dragons' nest. Go in and see how Gu Yang and the others are doing, Tang Weiner said. Long Chen nodded, patted Ah Man on the shoulder and said, Ah Man, you stay here with Sister Weiner, I'll go to Wanlong's nest to have a look. Ah Man looked at Long Chen with some reluctance. After reuniting with Long Chen, he didn't want to be separated from Long Chen for a moment. Seeing this, Tang Weiner knew that Ah Man didn't understand Long Chen's meaning and thought that once Long Chen left, it would take a long time to see him again, so she hurriedly comforted him and told him that Long Chen would come back soon. Ah Man then showed a simple and honest smile. By the way, Ah Man, do you still have some rations? Long Chen asked suddenly. Ah Man is different from others. He cannot be hungry. Once his stomach is empty, his fighting power will plummet, and if he is seriously overdrawn, he will fall into a coma. I don't have much food in my pocket, it's enough for 2 meals. As Ah Man spoke, he opened a strange bag at his waist. Long Chen and Tang Weiner looked inside along the mouth of the bag, and couldn't help their hearts beating wildly. All of them were existences above rank 5 God Emperors. There are monsters, and some creatures that even Long Chen doesn't know. There are hundreds of them. This bag, called the Qianquan bag, is made of the skin of a space monster. It has a huge space. Those monsters that look like mountains are as small as chickens inside the bag. There are more than 100 high-level God Emperor level monsters, which are only enough for 2 meals. Ah Man's appetite is too scary. Knowing that Ah Man still had rations, Long Chen felt relieved, and told him to stay here and listen to Sister Weiner's words, and then walked towards Wanlong's nest. Long Chen used the power of dragon blood to open the barrier of Wanlong's nest, and entered the Wanlong's nest. As soon as I entered the main hall of Wanlong nest, I saw Gu Yang, Li Qi, Song Mingyuan, Guoran, Xia Chen and other soldiers of the Dragon Blood Legion sitting cross-legged on the ground, surrounded by endless divine brilliance, each with their arms crossed. Eyes closed, still in meditation. Long Chen's consciousness swept across the entire 10,000 dragons' nest, and soon, Long Chen found the experts from the dragon realm in another hall. What shocked Long Chen was that tens of millions of strong men in Longyu were lying on the ground in disorder. Each of them was as pale as paper, their blood was almost dry, each of them had very weak breath of life, and the fire of their souls seemed to be extinguished at any time. How did this happen? What happened? Long Chen couldn't help but look shocked. It was I who guided them to come here and lead the Emperor's Dao Nilin out of the ground. However, if you want to attract the Emperor's Dao Nilin, you need to pay a price. Suddenly, the voice of the Chaos Dragon Emperor came from Long Chen's mind. Is this the price of life? Long Chen couldn't believe it. This is a test. If they don't have the courage to sacrifice their lives, how can they be contaminated with the luck of the Emperor's Dao Nilin? Chaos Dragon Emperor said. Long Chen's heart trembled. It seems that the Chaos Dragon Emperor is still dissatisfied with these descendants, and the methods are also very strict. If they fail the test, it will never allow them to be contaminated with the benefits of the imperial way. At that time, I gave them a choice, either sacrifice their own blood soul and life force to complete the Dragon Blood Legion, or part ways with the Dragon Blood Legion and find their own way out. Chaos Dragon Emperor said, Senior, you are too cruel. Long Chen smiled wryly. Sacrifice the blood soul and life power, even if they don't die, it will cost them half their lives. More importantly, the blood soul power and life power are the lifeblood of a practitioner. Too many sacrifices will seriously affect a person's life. A person's aptitude may not be able to fix the realm of this life. For a genius, he could accept death, but he absolutely couldn't accept the result. Therefore, the Chaos Dragon Emperor's approach was too ruthless. Moreover, judging from the situation of Mo Yang, Qi Wufeng and other strongest talents in the dragon realm, Their blood and soul power is almost exhausted. They really used their lives to complete the Dragon Blood Legion. Thinking of this, Long Chen couldn't help but feel a little annoyed. The emperor is too unreasonable. The disciples of Longyu exhausted the power of blood, soul, and life force, and activated the power of the blood of Emperor Dao Nilin. Their lives can only be maintained by this 10,000 dragons nest, but this is only the first step. To draw Emperor Dao Nilin out of the other world, the invincible will of the Dragon Blood Warriors and the power of the Dragon Soul in their bodies are needed. Therefore, the Emperor Dao Nilin is now in the world, and the Dragon Blood Legion has almost exhausted its strength. But this will be a great opportunity for them. Chaos Dragon Emperor said, "What a great chance. If a man hadn't appeared, we would all be dead." Long Chen said angrily, "Pushing yourself into a desperate situation is because you are too stupid. When you defeat Ho Tianwu and the bloody heroic wind comes, this is no longer a fair decisive battle. You should summon the six-horned evil fly. In the end, you still foolishly fight with them, and in the end you run out of energy, and you don't even have the power to summon the six-horned evil fly." The Chaos Dragon Emperor snorted coldly. Hearing the Chaos Dragon Emperor's words, Long Chen shut his mouth immediately. He still had the strongest whole card that he didn't use, but facing the strong at the same level, Long Chen's pride did not allow him to use this whole card. However, when Long Chen wanted to use the six-horned evil fly, he found that his blood power and soul power were too consumed, and he was unable to activate the spell on the six-horned evil fly. This was something he never expected beforehand. If a man hadn't arrived in time, Long Chen might really be doomed today. In the words of Chaos Dragon Emperor, today's situation is all caused by his own stupidity. Well, I admit that I'm stupid, but you also know that there is an arrogant will hidden deep in my soul, and it doesn't allow me to do that. Long Chen could only throw the blame with a cheeky face. Hearing what Long Chen said, Chaos Dragon Emperor didn't hold on to this matter anymore, and continued, "I let them exhaust the energy in their bodies, and it was actually for their own good." At this time, the Emperor Dao Nilin began to wake up, and its original breath began to release. At this time, they just happened to be in an ethereal state, absorbing the original energy. The best opportunity for the spirit. The so-called old does not go, the new does not come. This kind of alternation of the old and the new, for them, is tantamount to reborn. Thank you, seniors. Only then did Long Chen understand the painstaking efforts of the Chaos Dragon Emperor, and he felt extremely ashamed when he thought that he had misunderstood him just now. Chaos Dragon Emperor said, "Before, Gu Yang and the others wanted to use the power of Wanlong Nest to repair their bodies, but I stopped them. Not only did they not recover, but the remaining power in their bodies was also drained by Wanlong Nest. Just to leave better things to them. Now you have two choices. 1. Let them absorb the breath of Emperor Dao Nilin now, and change from old to new. 2. Let them continue to be in the state of empty cups, and when the Emperor Dao Nilin really wakes up and the Emperor Dao space blooms, let them absorb the original power that is 100 times purer than it is now." Of course I choose the second one. Long Chen didn't even think about it. However, when everyone enters the imperial space, all your enemies will appear. Ask yourself, can you protect them? Chaos Dragon Emperor said in a deep voice, "This?" At that moment, Long Chen was speechless. Chapter 5649. Through the battle with Ho Tianwu, Zuing Fengfeng, Xiang Tu and others, Long Chen knew that there are too many monsters in this world. The key point is that this is only part of the strength of the Sky Demon Alliance. If all the strong players of the Sky Demon Alliance gather together, who knows how many such monsters there will be. Although Long Chen has the hexagonal evil fly in his hands, this weapon is only a one-time consumable, and it will be gone when it is used up. It can only be used to win by surprise. But Long Chen has the means. It doesn't mean others don't have it. A heavenly demon alliance makes Long Chen a little confused. Once Fan Tianda, Li Changjing, Long Zhe and others appear, they will inevitably fight. At that time, he will become the target of public criticism. He will not only have to face many powerful enemies, but also protect the Dragon Blood Legion. No matter how big Long Chen is, he will not dare to take this risk. The point is, who knows how many powerhouses of their level are there? Even if they were the only ones, who knew how many terrifying cards they had? Who can say that they didn't get astonishing opportunities in the Tianmai profound realm? Thinking of the huge pressure on Long Chen, but no matter what, he wanted the Dragon Blood Legion to get the best baptism. If they were to absorb it now, Long Chen would not be reconciled. Senior, can you point out a clear path? Long Chen took a deep breath and said, temporarily abandon the condensing of the stars and dragon veins, and change to the dragon blood and sky veins. Chaos Dragon Emperor seemed to be waiting for Long Chen's words, and replied without thinking. Ah! At that moment, Long Chen was stunned. He gave up condensing the dragon veins of the stars and changed the dragon blood veins? There are two reasons. First, your star dragon veins require too much power from heaven and earth, and it takes too long. You don't have that much time. Second, your 8-star battle body still has many flaws. If you haven't reached the limit, if you don't reach the limit, you won't see the opportunity for form transformation. Because your 9-star hegemony body art has already embarked on another path. If you don't change the form, the power of the stars will not be able to reach its peak. Long Chen's heart trembled violently. The Chaos Dragon Emperor saw very accurately, and also saw very far. What he said hit the nail on the head. Since the beginning of the 5-star battle, he began to forcibly change his form, and he has embarked on another path. The 8-star battle body is still in its most primitive form, and it has not yet reached its peak state. The compatibility between Long Chen and the 8-star body has not yet reached a perfect level. At this time, he didn't dare to try to change the shape of the 8 stars, because changing the shape is a very dangerous thing, and it will be fatal. He must achieve the ultimate in the 8-star battle body. As for what is the ultimate, Long Chen doesn't know, let alone explain it clearly. It is a feeling. It is a feeling. It is there and it is not there. It is indescribable. Long Chen always felt that his 8-star combat body was still missing something, but Long Chen didn't know exactly what the difference was. Therefore, Long Chen intends to condense the stars and dragon veins to see if he can make the 8 stars complete. But what the Chaos Dragon Emperor said made him waver, because according to the Chaos Dragon Emperor, the time was too late. At that time, everyone else will have condensed 9 natal dragon veins, but he still has 6 or 7, so he won't be beaten into a dog? You don't need to worry about the matter of the stars and dragon veins. I mean, let it go temporarily to relieve the urgent need. The Chaos Dragon Emperor seemed to see the concerns in Long Chen's heart. Just as you said, Senior, I'd better cultivate the Dragon Blood Heaven vein first. As for how to do it, I'd like to ask Senior for advice. As soon as Long Chen gritted his teeth, he decided to give up the power of the stars for the time being. He believed that the Chaos Dragon Emperor would never harm him, but the power of the stars was soaring rapidly, so he was still reluctant to let him give up, even temporarily. I'll teach you a set of ideas. You can start after you settle down the 10,000 Dragons' Nest and the outside situation. Chaos Dragon Emperor said, and then a strange rune appeared in Long Chen's mind. Is this the original Jiuli Xianwen? When Long Chen saw the fairy script, although he didn't recognize it, his intuition told him that it was the original Jiuli fairy script. Leave it alone, settle things down and calm down. I'll teach you how to use it and comprehend it. Chaos Dragon Emperor said. Long Chen nodded, came outside the 10,000 Dragons' Nest, and pressed his big hand on the 10,000 Dragons' Nest. The 10,000 Dragons' Nest trembled violently, and endless runes circulated, forming hundreds of millions of chains. At that moment, the 10,000 Dragons' Nest switched to the strongest defense state. In this way, even if someone attacks Wanlong's nest, they don't want to disturb the people inside. Brother Long. Ever since he left just now, Man has been a little restless. Even if Tang Weiner kept teasing him, he was listless. Now that he saw Long Chen come out, he was overjoyed. Aman, you just went through a big battle. Take a good rest and sleep for a while. Seeing the tired look in Aman's eyes, Long Chen said, Aman is not sleepy. I'm afraid I won't be able to find Brother Long again when I wake up. Aman shook his head hurriedly. He had seen Long Chen in his dreams countless times, but once he woke up, Aman would be very nervous. So, seeing Man's appearance like this, Long Chen felt a pain in his heart. This child is still as innocent as ever, and he still thinks that he is in a dream. Amon, you need to sleep for a while, otherwise the bad guys will come later. Brother Long can't beat them. What should you do if you don't have enough energy? Be obedient. Sleep for a while, we will guard you. If there is danger, we will wake you up. Long Chen he patted Ah Man on the shoulder and said. At the same time, Long Chen's voice became low and slow, and Ah Man felt even more sleepy while speaking. Long Chen took a few shots, and he fell into a deep sleep. After Ah Man fell asleep, Long Chen arranged for 4 hidden dragon warriors to look after him. Long Chen knew Ah Man very well. His strength was astonishing, but his consumption was also extremely terrifying. Therefore, he has to sleep often to reduce consumption, otherwise, with his little ration, he can really only last 2 days. After 2 days, Ah Man will be hungry again. Suffering. After Ah Man fell asleep, Long Chen gathered all the experts in Fengshanhai Pavilion. At this time, the experts in Fengshanhai Pavilion respected Long Chen like a god. Hou Tianwu, Zuing Fengfeng, and Xiang Tu are all peerless monsters, so strong that they are in a mess. In front of them, everyone feels as small as ants. Such a terrifying existence was still defeated one by Long Chen in a wheel battle. Although Ah Man came to the rescue in the end, it did not affect Long Chen's invincible image in their hearts. Everyone who can desperately protect my brother Long Chen, I have remembered this love. After finishing speaking, Long Chen said to Tang Weiner, now that the Emperor's Dao Nilin has begun to recover and the power of destiny is gushing out, it is the best time for everyone to improve. With a wave of Long Chen's hand, the giant tree opened up the sky, the 7-treasure glazed tree appeared, and the glazed brilliance lit up the world. The 7 treasures glazed tree just appeared, and 3,000 stars circulated above the void, reflecting on the 7 treasures glazed tree. Seeing these runes, Tang Weiner was taken aback. She covered her cherry lips with her jade hand. Her eyes were full of disbelief. Chapter 5650. Under the leadership of Tang Weiner, the hidden dragon warriors saw the original Jiuli Xianwen. Unfortunately, because of time constraints, they had no time to comprehend it. The Jiuli Xianwen was short-lived, which made them feel endless regret. At that time, in the Hidden Dragon Legion, only a small number of people, such as Xiaoye, seized the opportunity and learned a few runes, but these few runes changed their fate and gave them luck. Condensed the natal dragon vein. Seeing so many original Jiuli Xianwen now, their eyes are full of excitement. Long Chen asked Tang Weiner to arrange for everyone to take turns to comprehend, and leave some to patrol. If there is an invasion by a foreign race, they will be killed. Long Chen himself didn't have time to comprehend these 3,000 runes, so he simply took them out for everyone to comprehend. As for these runes from the Jiuli God Tablet, how much everyone can comprehend depends on personal fortune. After arranging everyone, Long Chen came to the space passage alone. The power of destiny here contains the vast dragon power, forming a torrent. Only those who bear the blood of the dragon can withstand such an impact. The torrent rushes over the 10,000 dragons' nest, forming a buffer zone behind the 10,000 dragons' nest. This is the best place for everyone to practice. Under the reflection of the 3,000 stars, the 7-treasure glazed tree shone with divine splendor, streams of light swept across the souls of the people, and the holy energy was clearing away their negative emotions and calming down their minds quickly. The 7-treasure glazed tree is a heaven-defying treasure. It can help people to understand their minds and see their nature, enlightenment and wisdom. With its assistance, it will greatly increase the chances of everyone's success. Tang Weiner immediately organized everyone to take turns to realize the epiphany. She glanced at Long Chen, who had already entered the space passage, and saw that he had already started cross-legged meditation, and also began to comprehend the Jiuli talisman. In the space channel, there is sparkling light, the sacred aura roars in, and the aura of the Emperor becomes more and more vast. According to the instructions of the Chaos Dragon Emperor, Long Chen completely calmed his heart down. Originally, Long Chen wanted to restore his strength first, but the Chaos Dragon Emperor told him that there was no need for that, just start directly. Let go of the power of the purple blood, don't let it restrain the power of the dragon's blood. After meditating for a while, the voice of the Chaos Dragon Emperor came. Boom! Before Long Chen had been using the power of purple blood to control the dragon's blood so that it would not be uncontrollable and run wild in the body. When Long Chen removed the power of purple blood, the power of dragon blood suddenly ran wild like a wild horse and went crazy in Long Chen's body. Agitation. Buzz. Blood-colored scales appeared all over Long Chen's body, and the dragon's blood battle body erupted automatically. At this time, the dragon's blood battle body was extremely violent, and it was not under Long Chen's control at all. It seemed to destroy Long Chen's body and escape from the bondage. How could this be? Is it going to betray me? Long Chen was shocked and angry when he felt that the power of the dragon's blood wanted to break away from him. He never imagined that the power of dragon blood that he had controlled for many years would leave him one day, as if abandoning him violently and mercilessly. You are not the dragon clan, it succumbed to you. On the one hand it was suppressed by you, on the other hand it had to succumb because it was oppressed by my will. Now that I feel the call of Emperor Dao Nilin, it is a normal phenomenon that it wants to leave you, nothing to be surprised about. Chaos Dragon Emperor said. Okay, the next step is the important part. You have to listen carefully and focus on the rune I passed to you. Seeing the seriousness of Chaos Dragon Emperor's words, Long Chen quickly calmed down and looked at the rune passed to him by Chaos Dragon Emperor in the depths of his soul. This rune looks like a mountain. It is composed of more than a dozen runes. The runes flow like dragon-shaped creatures. On this rune, Long Chen feels the hot breath. Feel it with your heart and see if you can call out its name. Chaos Dragon Emperor said. Melt. Long Chen almost didn't even think about it, and shouted directly. As Long Chen said the word, Rong, the rune trembled suddenly, as if awakened from a deep sleep. Immediately afterwards, the rune exploded, turning into hundreds of millions of tiny runes, which scattered from Long Chen's soul space into his limbs and bones. Laugh. When the runes poured into Long Chen's blood, the purple blood and the colorful supreme blood trembled slightly, but they didn't react too much, but the dragon blood exploded all of a sudden. The dragon's blood instantly became scorching hot, like lava, rolling in Long Chen's meridians, and the terrifying impact made the veins on Long Chen's forehead bulge. Fortunately, Long Chen's ability to endure pain is very strong. He has been guarding the Ling Tai closely, maintaining a high degree of concentration, and observing every move of hundreds of millions of runes. These runes were attached to the dragon's blood, burning crazily, and the dragon's blood fled desperately, but the runes were like maggots attached to the bones. Once they were attached, they could no longer be thrown away. Chi chi chi. The dragon's blood was burning, and blue smoke even appeared in the meridians, as if it had burned Long Chen's meridians black. There are impurities in the dragon's blood? Long Chen was startled. The powder attached to the meridians was exactly the impurities of the dragon's blood. Even on the black powder, Long Chen felt anger and unwillingness. Is this the self-awareness of dragon blood? Long Chen's heart beat wildly. After he fused the dragon's blood, he always thought that the dragon's blood had already merged with him, and they were inseparable from each other. At this point, although the dragon blood is for him to drive, it has always retained its self-awareness. It seems to be waiting for an opportunity to escape from Long Chen's control. Thinking of this, Long Chen couldn't help breaking out in a cold sweat. Fortunately, he discovered it early. If dragon blood suddenly rebelled when he was fighting against a strong enemy, he would be finished. After all, it wasn't given by my parents, and it's normal to be selfish. Long Chen couldn't help but sigh in his heart. His purple blood comes from his mother, and the colorful supreme blood comes from his father. The power of these two bloodlines has been silently guarding him. Although the colorful supreme blood had been stripped before, the returned colorful supreme blood would never betray him. Thinking of this, Long Chen missed his father and mother even more. Perhaps this is the most selfless love in the world. Chi chi chi. The talisman was still burning, frantically chasing the remaining will in the dragon's blood, and the power of the flame burned it to ashes. During the frantic burning, the dragon's blood became less and less, almost all of it was burned dry, and what was left in the end were pure blood runes. Blood fusion. This is the only way for the Emperor Dragon clan to advance to the human sovereign. After the blood fusion is completed, the impurities in the blood will be removed, and the evil thoughts contaminated by killing will be annihilated. The Dilong family is different from the human race. We are protected by divine power. Evil thoughts cannot corrode the soul, but they will adhere to the blood. The dragon blood in your body is not yours in the first place, so it is more likely to provoke evil thoughts. However, with the blessing of the blood fusion technique, your dragon blood is already in the purest state. Chaos Dragon Emperor said, "Purity is pure, but it's already on the verge of death, and it's almost time to breathe." Looking at the sluggish, almost half-dead dragon blood rune, Long Chen couldn't help but wryly smiled. No way, this is the price of scraping the bone to heal the poison, but after the blood fusion, it will be completely one with you, regardless of each other, as long as the heart is red, and the blood will be red, and it conflicts with your colorful supreme blood, and you don't need purple blood to reconcile it. Well, the dragon's blood has been severely injured, it's time to mend it, and activate your divine ring. Chaos Dragon Emperor said. The moment Long Chen opened the 8-color divine ring, endless power frantically poured into Long Chen's blood. Chapter 56-51 The divine ring opened up the world, like a huge mouth, frantically devouring the energy coming from the passage. The almost dry blood in Long Chen's body was instantly nourished. The dragon blood runes seemed to throw a thirsty person into the stream, and they sucked energy desperately. Don't deliberately devour it, it will introduce impurities, and at the same time, it will also contaminate the will of Emperor Dao Nilin. Just let the original blood talisman absorb itself, it will instinctively choose what it likes the most. It has already merged with your soul, you don't have to worry about it giving birth to your own will again. Chaos Dragon Emperor said. Originally, Long Chen had just planned to use the power of the divine ring to absorb more power for the power of the bloodline, but he stopped immediately when he heard the words of the Chaos Dragon Emperor. What Long Chen has to do now is to open a skylight for them, let them bring in the power they need, and let them discharge the unnecessary things along the God Ring. Buzz! The dragon blood talisman in Long Chen's body trembled. These dragon blood talismans were the product of dragon blood fused with the Jiuli talisman. A small talisman, like a bottomless pit, devoured the energy of heaven and earth greedily. The dried-up dragon's blood gradually became fuller, and the fuller dragon's blood was completely new compared to before. Feeling the torrent of dragon blood flowing in the body, the power of dragon blood runs through the limbs and bones. Wherever the thoughts pass, the dragon blood and the soul fit together. With a thought, the dragon force is born. That wonderful feeling is something that Long Chen has never experienced before. The dragon's blood at this time is the power that Long Chen can really control. As the power of the dragon's blood continues to fill, Long Chen feels full of power. Boom! Suddenly, there was a shock in Long Chen's body, and the power of the vast dragon blood surged, and the power of dragon blood in Long Chen's body was finally saturated. Laugh! Long Chen stretched out his big hand, and slashed across the void with a finger, pointing to the wind to split the void, making a piercing sonic boom. At that moment, Long Chen's face was full of ecstasy. How? The voice of the Chaos Dragon Emperor came. Although it pretended to be calm, there was an unconcealable pride in the voice. What a terrifying power! My power at this time has surpassed the power when I summoned the dragon blood battle body before. Long Chen said excitedly. Long Chen's excited voice trembled a little. He never expected that the power of dragon blood after blood fusion would be so strong. If the red dragon battle body is summoned, will the power exceed the 9-star battle body? At that moment, Long Chen was stunned. As if seeing through Long Chen's thoughts, the Chaos Dragon Emperor said, "From the current point of view, at the same level, the dragon blood battle body is definitely stronger than the 9-star battle body. Unless one day, after the 8-star Zakshan, you can summon the 8-star battle body that has awakened in a new form, otherwise, the 9-star hegemony body art will have no meaning for you. The Lord of 9 stars is powerful, but unfortunately, his strength cannot continue." What do you mean? Long Chen was stunned. Every once in a while in your human race, some peerless geniuses will appear, shining forever, pushing the reputation of the human race to a new height. And the Lord of Nine Stars is the strongest existence in your human race, and at the same time the strongest existence in the 10,000 races. He has pushed the human race to an unprecedented height. It's a pity that the human race has a fatal flaw, that is, inheritance. The inheritance of words, spells, and will can easily cause generational gaps. This is even more so for the Lord of Nine Stars. His most powerful disciple cannot inherit 1/10 of his mantle, and his all-powerful abilities cannot be passed on, so they are useless after all. He pushed the human race to an unprecedented height, but the moment he fell, the human race fell from an unprecedented height and almost became extinct. The voice of the Chaos Dragon Emperor became deep and distant, as if caught in a distant memory. It continued. The human race has been in a slump since then, and everything is like a nightmare. After being beaten back to its original form, the human race has not been reduced to the point of becoming a slave, but the hearts of the people have been broken, and there are many traitors. Forget it, let's not talk about these useless things, but to tell you the truth, I really hope that you can inherit the supernatural powers of my dragon clan, but I can't deprive you of the right to choose. Fortunately, there is no conflict between the dragon blood battle body and the star battle body. Whichever you think is stronger, you can learn whichever one. The important thing is that you have to survive first. Long Chen's heart was shocked. It was the first time for him to listen to the Lord of the Nine Stars in such detail from the mouth of the Chaos Dragon Emperor. From its tone, it can be heard that it admires the Nine-Star Lord, but it seems that it does not agree with certain aspects of the Nine-Star Lord. How smart is Long Chen? Although the Chaos Dragon Emperor didn't say it clearly, why couldn't he hear the implication? The Chaos Dragon Emperor is very optimistic about him and wants him to inherit his mantle. Even if he is a human race, the Chaos Dragon Emperor will still give him all he has. Although the Lord of Nine Stars is very strong, but when he was alive, he was unable to pass on his abilities. This shows that the Lord of Nine Stars is a genius from the sky, and his abilities cannot be cultivated by everyone. When he was alive, he couldn't find an inheritor. Now that the Lord of Nine Stars has fallen for countless years, it is simply wishful thinking to continue his path. Moreover, Long Chen has already embarked on another road, without the guidance of his master, let alone experience to learn from, and relying on one person to explore. He wants to walk out of another nine-star road. Although the Chaos Dragon Emperor didn't say anything, obviously, in it seems that this road is basically a dead end. But it didn't want to hit Long Chen, let alone forcibly pull Long Chen into his sect for its own selfishness. Its pride didn't allow it to do that. These words it said today are tantamount to reminding Long Chen, and at the same time telling him that life sometimes requires choices. Long Chen pondered for a long time, and couldn't help but smiled wryly. How can I not know the kindness of the senior? However, whether it is you or the Lord of Nine Stars, they all have the grace to save my life. Back then in Fengming Empire, if it wasn't for the 9-star hegemony body art, Long Chen would have died tragically under the conspiracy. It was the 9-star hegemon body art that gave me the opportunity to change my life against the sky. It can be said that my life was given by the 9-star Lord. You also know that I, Long Chen, don't like to owe favors. Chuanxiang repays, not to mention such a great kindness? No matter whether the 9 stars road can be passed through or not, and no matter what price you pay in the future, you will die without regret. Long Chen paused for a moment, gritted his teeth and said, You know, I'm a very greedy person. I want the inheritance of the 9 stars, I also want the inheritance of the seniors, and I want everything that can make me stronger. Aren't you afraid of chewing too much? Hearing what Long Chen said, Chaos Dragon Emperor said angrily. Don't be afraid, I have good teeth and a good appetite. Long Chen said with a chuckle. Chaos Dragon Emperor sighed and said, Forget it, since that's the case, I won't force you. I'll pass on the secret technique of the Emperor Dragon Clan to you, and start gathering the dragon veins of destiny. Chapter 56-52. The Tianmai dragon energy of the human race needs to gather the heaven and earth luck, sect luck, family luck, personal luck, etc., and be fused under the urging of the power of destiny. But the Dragon Clan is different, especially my Emperor Dragon Clan. We are a symbol of luck, and the dragon veins and dragon energy are originally named after our clan. The solemn and deep voice of the Chaos Dragon Emperor sounded in Long Chen's mind. In the world, there are the three talents of heaven, man, and earth, and there are inherent ways of heaven, earth, and people, but no matter which one is presented, it is presented in the shape of a dragon. My Emperor Dragon Clan is not only the Emperor leader of the Dragon Clan, but also one of the controllers of the 9 heavens. Although our Emperor Dragon Clan has fallen, unless the 9 heavens are destroyed, all luck in the world must be presented in the form of dragon veins. But there is one thing I want to remind you: in the process of condensing the dragon veins, no matter what you discover or feel, don't say it, and you are not allowed to mention a few words to anyone, otherwise, you will harm others and you will also harm others. Yourself. At the end, Chaos Dragon Emperor's voice became extremely serious, even harsh. Disciple understands, Long Chen replied, but after Long Chen answered, both Long Chen and Chaos Dragon Emperor fell silent for a moment. The disciples understood Long Chen's words, and hit the weakest part of the Chaos Dragon Emperor's heart in an instant. The Chaos Dragon Emperor led an era and shocked the heavens, but for some reason, no disciple passed it on. Now the word, disciple of Long Chen hit its heart like a heavy hammer. It has been with Long Chen for so many years, and it knows Long Chen's character deeply. This guy Long Chen was born with pride and arrogance. Although he was laughing and joking on the surface, he was not in a good shape, but the arrogance in his bones was even stronger than when he was young. Because Long Chen is a descendant of 9 stars, it often feels aggrieved, and feels that Long Chen's character is tailor-made for him. It couldn't hold back its face to snatch other people's disciples, and it was rejected by Long Chen just now. In fact, it felt a little uncomfortable. But now Long Chen's disciple immediately made it a little elated, but it didn't dare to speak, for fear that there was something wrong with its tone, and Long Chen could hear it. What a proud existence is the majestic Chaos Dragon Emperor. Being so excited to be regarded as a master by others, wouldn't that kill me? And Long Chen was also stunned. His words were just spoken casually, without thinking at all. In fact, Long Chen has long regarded the Chaos Dragon Emperor as his master. Although they do not have the name of master and apprentice, they have the reality of master and apprentice. However, he never wanted to admit it. He knew that the Chaos Dragon Emperor should be in an extremely embarrassing situation. After all, Qian Kuanding had revealed some information to Long Chen. The Chaos Dragon Emperor is arrogant. In this case, if it accepts Long Chen as a disciple, if it is mistaken by Long Chen for purpose, this is tantamount to a kind of desecration of the relationship between the two. The Chaos Dragon Emperor has long regarded Long Chen as his disciple, and Long Chen also regards the Chaos Dragon Emperor as his master, but due to various embarrassing reasons, this layer of window paper is inconvenient to pierce. After a while, the Chaos Dragon Emperor said coldly, "Adjust the power of the blood, return it to the center of the eyebrows." Hearing the voice of the Chaos Dragon Emperor pretending to be indifferent, the corner of Long Chen's mouth curled up. "Isn't this place without 300 taels of silver? What are you laughing at? Be serious." Long Chen just finished laughing when the Chaos Dragon Emperor scolded him. Long Chen shrank his neck in fright and hurriedly restrained his mind. According to the method taught by the Chaos Dragon Emperor, he transported the power of the blood to the eyebrows. A dragon-shaped rune flew out along Long Chen's eyebrows. It was only 3 inches long at first, but after leaving Long Chen's body, it swelled against the wind and grew to 3 feet in an instant. It frantically absorbed the energy between the heaven and the earth and grew at a speed visible to the naked eye. 10 feet, 100 feet, 1,000 feet, 100 miles, thousands of miles. It didn't even take half a stick of incense, but the dragon veins soared to the size of thousands of miles. At that moment, Long Chen was stunned. Looking at the dragon's blood veins in front of him and feeling its vast say-like fluctuations, Long Chen was stunned. This dragon's blood veins were even more powerful than a star dragon vein. The blood-red giant dragon galloped behind Long Chen, and the power of endless blood rolled in Long Chen's body. At this time, Long Chen even hoped to have a strong opponent for him to practice. This dragon blood vein is stronger than the star dragon vein? Long Chen looked at the dragon blood vein and couldn't help being excited. The power of the stars comes from outside the sky, and does not belong to the three talents of heaven, earth, and man. Although the power of the stars is theoretically vast and inexhaustible, it requires power to activate them. When you summon the star-fighting body and communicate with the outer stars, you have already consumed part of your power. To put it bluntly, before the battle begins, the power has already begun to be consumed, so it cannot last. But the power of dragon blood is different. It is the power within the 9 heavens itself, and it is also a symbol of the luck of the 9 heavens. When it gathers into the dragon veins of luck, all the worlds must obey the call of the dragon veins. The power is powerful and long-lasting. The Chaos Dragon Emperor explained. But how do I feel? Long Chen was a little puzzled. Shut up, you idiot! Did you forget what I told you just now? Chaos Dragon Emperor cursed. Long Chen's heart trembled because just now his scalp suddenly became numb and his whole body became cold, as if he was being targeted by something terrifying. However, the moment he closed his mouth, the terrifying feeling disappeared again, as if nothing had happened. The disciple knew it was wrong. Long Chen hurriedly apologized, and at the same time hated himself secretly. He has a big head, so why doesn't he have a long memory? Just now, the Chaos Dragon Emperor reminded him repeatedly, but he still forgot. Seeing Long Chen's apology, Chaos Dragon Emperor was too embarrassed to scold Long Chen again, so he said angrily, "Don't be a dog that can't hold 2 tails of sesame oil in your stomach. Some secrets must be kept in your stomach. If you haven't reached that height, speaking out will only kill you." Long Chen nodded hastily. After condensing the dragon blood veins, he felt something strange and immediately wanted to verify with the Chaos Dragon Emperor, but he forgot the previous instructions of the Chaos Dragon Emperor. Although Long Chen had countless doubts, as the Chaos Dragon Emperor said, he could only hold it in his stomach. Long Chen couldn't help but look at the blue sky above his head. There seemed to be a flash of enlightenment in his eyes, and he didn't say anything in the end. Concoct according to the law. Condense the second dragon blood and heavenly vein. Chaos Dragon Emperor shouted. Long Chen didn't dare to be negligent and quickly followed the previous method to continue to gather the second dragon blood heaven vein. The power of dragon's blood has absorbed the power of destiny and luck, and has grown rapidly under the stimulation of the Emperor's Dao kneeling. After only 2 days, Long Chen condensed 5 dragon blood and heavenly veins. At this speed, Long Chen was going crazy with joy. This was simply cheating. Suddenly, Long Chen looked in front of the 7-treasure glazed tile tree. His figure flickered and disappeared instantly. Chapter 56-53 The 7 treasures glazed tree opened up the sky, and on the branches and leaves, stars were dotted, the runes were shining, and the divine splendor fell down, sprinkled on everyone under the 7 treasures glazed tree. Tang Weiner led the hidden dragon warriors and sat cross-legged under the tree trunk, with blue runes flowing all over her body, and she was comprehending the immortal scriptures. Tang Weiner was in a state of concentration, with no distractions. Her pretty face was peaceful, but there were 7 blue dragon veins flowing slowly around her body. Tang Weiner didn't know it, but when she was concentrating on comprehending the original Jiuli Xianwen, her natal dragon veins is automatically generated. The reason why Tang Weiner grew up so fast was actually Feng Sinyu's arrangement. Under Feng Sinyu's guidance, Tang Weiner obtained the lost inheritance of Fengshen's lineage. That lost inheritance is a key. This key is used to open a treasure house, and this treasure house is the savings that Tang Weiner has accumulated and passed on to her since she was apprenticed to a teacher. After finding the inheritance, the door of Tang Weiner's treasury was considered to have opened a gap, and now as she has gained more and more enlightenment, the gap in the door has become wider and wider, and her destiny dragon veins have gathered faster and faster. Tang Weiner's jade hands are in the mudra, and the talisman flows on the top of her head, and the divine brilliance reflects on her face, just like a goddess who does not eat fireworks in the world, which makes people admire but dare not approach. Beside Tang Weiner, Xiaoye and the others were also practicing with peace of mind. What was surprising was that Xiaoye at this time also condensed 4 dragon veins of destiny, and the others also condensed 3. Looking at the entire Hidden Dragon Legion, everyone has condensed their natal dragon veins, but their natal dragon veins are still growing and have not yet formed. Among the 30 million Tianjiao in Fengshanhai Pavilion, tens of thousands of people have already condensed the dragon veins of destiny, and there are millions of people. The 9 dragon veins behind them are intertwined with each other. It seems that they have realized the opportunity to condense the dragon veins of destiny, but can they success depends on that crucial step. Hundreds of disciples of Fengshanhai Pavilion patrolled the surroundings, scanning back and forth with their divine senses, not daring to relax for a moment. Everyone was practicing, but a man was lying under the 7-treasure glazed tree and sleeping very soundly. Sometimes he would turn over and swallow his saliva non-stop. He didn't know if he was eating something good in his dream. However, at this moment, a sudden change occurred. A sharp sword broke the tranquility of the surroundings, and the sharp sword energy pierced through the void, heading straight for Tang Weiner's eyebrows. However, just as the sword energy was stimulated, a big hand emerged, and 5 dragon air flows from the sky above the big hand. Boo! With a soft sound of that sharp sword chi, the vast divine power disappeared without a trace in an instant. The attack came suddenly, but it disappeared quickly. Even the wave of the attack was wiped out by the big hand, and no one was alarmed except the patrollers. The idiot of the life-hunting family, Long Chen, appeared, and a sneer appeared on the corner of his mouth. When the group of people approached, Long Chen had already sensed it. Long Chen suddenly opened his big hand, grabbed the air, and suddenly the void in front of him collapsed, and then figures appeared one by one. Those patrolling people were shocked. Hundreds of strong men approached them, but they didn't notice it at all. These hundreds of strong men, wearing tight black clothes and holding thin-edged long swords, are all super strong men who have condensed the dragon energy of their natal veins, and one of them has condensed 4 natal celestial veins. Long Chen grabbed it in the air, and hundreds of strong men were absorbed by the vortex at the same time. The group of people was shocked and ran away one after another. One of them slashed out with a sword chi, and a hole was torn in the void. He burrowed into the hole and disappeared instantly. That person was the most powerful and highest level person in this group of people. Seeing that the situation was not good, he ran away immediately. Puff puff. However, other people were not so lucky. In the void collapse, a dragon claw emerged, and everyone was directly crushed into powder by the dragon claw. But one person escaped. Long Chen snorted coldly, opened his big hand, and was about to make a move, but in the end he didn't make a move, allowing that person to escape. Although that person is powerful, if Long Chen wants to kill him, he can't escape Long Chen's palm at all. But Long Chen didn't make a move in the end, because if he wanted to kill him, he had to activate the power of the dragon's blood and heavenly veins, and the powerful power would wake everyone up. Everyone is in a state of samadhi. If they wake up, it will take a lot of time to get back to samadhi. It's not worth it to kill a 4-veined heavenly sage. And judging from that person's strength, he should be a member of the life-hunting clan, not the real leader, so it would be meaningless to kill him. At this time, the disciples of the Fengshanhai Pavilion who were in charge of everyone's safety were flushed. They came to Long Chen and said with shame on their faces, "Senior brother Long Chen, we are too useless. Don't blame yourself, this is a group of killers, they are very powerful, they used to dare to challenge the Purple Blood Clan, it's normal that you can't find them. You don't have to worry, they will definitely not dare to come again, just patrol with peace of mind." Long Chen comforted everyone. Hearing what Long Chen said, everyone felt much better and began to continue to be on guard. How about it? At this time, the voice of the Chaos Dragon Emperor came, and there was a hint of pride in the voice that could not be concealed. "Strong, too strong." Long Chen took a deep breath and said excitedly. Long Chen didn't expect that after condensing the dragon's blood and the sky veins, The power of the dragon's blood could be so strong. As far as he thought, the dragon's blood would reach, and killing these killers was just like killing ants. If this summons the dragon blood battle body, how strong will it be? Long Chun couldn't imagine it. This is just the beginning, it's just a small test. Continue to condense the dragon's blood and heavenly veins, and I will teach you to condense the supernatural runes. At that time, when you cast the supernatural powers of the Dragon Clan, you don't need to make seals anymore, and you can cast them as you like. Chaos Dragon Emperor said. Long Chun was very excited. The supernatural powers of the Dragon Clan are extremely terrifying. If you don't need to rely on seals to store power, you can save a lot of time. The battle between masters is for the first-line opportunity. Long Chen is good at melee combat. If the Dragon Clan's supernatural powers can be easily obtained, wouldn't it be time to go to heaven? Long Chen returned to the space channel, quickly calmed his blood, opened the divine ring, and entered the practice state again. Soon, the prototype of Long Chen's 6th Dragon Blood Sky Vein appeared, and the moment the prototype of the Sky Vein appeared, the prototype of a rune appeared in Long Chen's mind. Without the Chaos Dragon Emperor opening his mouth, Long Chen hurriedly formed a seal with his hands, and a blood-colored rune appeared on his fingertips. The rune was exactly the same as the rune in his mind. The understanding of the human race is really a bit perverted. The Chaos Dragon Emperor was still a little distressed. The runes of the Dragon Clan are all inherited by the power of blood. It is extremely difficult to express it in words. Expressive. However, what it didn't expect was that Long Chen only saw the rune and understood its meaning, and directly condensed the rune. Could it be because of the Jolly God Monument? Chaos Dragon Emperor's heart moved, as if he had found the key. If that's the case, it's a big deal. Chapter 56-54 Buzz. Blood-colored runes rose from Long Chen's fingertips, turned into balls of flames, and poured into the rapidly growing dragon blood veins. This is the method taught by the Chaos Dragon Emperor to Long Chen, and it is also the result of his whimsy, because Long Chen is not a dragon, his body is too small, and it is incomparable with the body of the dragon, which is tens of thousands of miles, or even millions of miles. The capacity of dragon blood in Long Chen's body is limited. Even if Long Chen's body is exploded, it will not be able to brand the dragon's blood rune. The bloodline supernatural powers of the Dragon Clan are all activated by bloodline runes, and simple supernatural powers often require hundreds of runes to be activated at the same time. If it is a high-level supernatural power, it needs to mobilize tens of thousands of blood runes at the same time, but that kind of peerless supernatural power needs even more, so much that even the Chaos Dragon Emperor himself can't calculate it. Long Chen's physical body can't work, so he can only bless it through his dragon veins, and imprint the dragon blood rune on the dragon veins, and he can also master the dragon's supernatural powers. However, this requires an extremely harsh condition, that is, Long Chen needs to be able to comprehend the nature of these runes from the heart. This difficulty is against the sky. Even the Chaos Dragon Emperor is ready to teach for a long time. After Long Chen masters the most basic runes, he can first master the simplest supernatural powers of the Dragon Clan. However, Long Chen's amazing comprehension surprised even it. The speed at which the dragon's blood imprinted the runes was even faster than that of the pure-blooded Emperor Dragon Clan. Boom! The dragon blood veins are constantly growing, and the runes are constantly being branded. Those runes are attached to the body of the dragon veins like scales. As the runes continue to increase, the dragon veins start to roar and explode. Idiot, slow down, the condensing speed is too fast, the dragon veins can't bear it. Seeing that the dragon's blood and sky veins had no time to digest, and Long Chen was still imprinting on them, the Chaos Dragon Emperor couldn't help cursing. How can you say I'm an idiot? I obviously came at your pace. If you give me a rune, you'll brand a rune? Long Chen said with an aggrieved face. You have learned to talk back, right? Chaos Dragon Emperor said angrily. Disciples dare not. Long Chen was speechless for a while. What he could say, he could only confess, but he was still dissatisfied in his heart. The Chaos Dragon Emperor seemed to be a little embarrassed. Long Chun couldn't be blamed for this incident. He threw out a lot of runes. Long Chun explained. In this way, when Long Chun encounters a problem, the branding speed will drop, but it didn't expect that Long Chen's comprehension ability is amazing, so the branding speed is too fast, even Tianmai Longqi can't bear it. The Chaos Dragon Emperor softened his tone slightly and said, although the 6th Tianmai Dragon Qi is powerful, it cannot withstand so many dragon blood runes. You don't have to worry. The reason why I let you brand the rune when you condense the 6th heavenly vein is because the strength of the dragon vein at this time can bear the dragon's blood rune. The next Tianmai can bear more and so on, enough for you to brand it. Moreover, after all the runes are branded, they will automatically be classified into different dragon veins, and there will be no distinction between strong and weak dragon veins in the future. Long Chun nodded. He was really anxious before. Each of these dragon blood runes is a treasure. Long Chun fought Ho Tianwu, Shui Yingfeng, Xiang Tu and others this time. Now that he has the opportunity to become stronger quickly, how can he be calm? Of course, it is desperately absorbing, every time a rune is branded, it means that his strength will become stronger. Boom, soon, the 6th dragon's blood and heavenly veins were condensed. However, when the 6 heavenly veins were wandering behind Long Chun, the original 5 heavenly veins began to wind towards the 6th. Just as the Chaos Dragon Emperor said, the dragon blood runes on the 6th Tianmai Dragon Qi were gradually transferred to the other Tianmai Dragon Qi. After being shared with the dragon's blood runes, the 6th Tianmai immediately felt much more relaxed, while the other 5 Tianmai's dragon energy became a little violent, as if they were still adapting to those dragon's blood runes. After the 6th dragon vein was condensed, Long Chun directly started to condense the 7th, and the runes given to Long Chun by the Chaos Dragon Emperor seemed endless. Long Chun kept condensing according to the instructions of the Chaos Dragon Emperor. Time is passing fast. Long Chun keeps condensing the runes, and the condensed runes will be accompanied by the power of the blood, and when the dragon vein is completed, the power of the blood will automatically return to the body, forming a cycle. But such a boring process lasted for a whole month. Even with Long Chun's perseverance, he felt like he was going crazy. During this month, Long Chun didn't know how many bloodline runes condensed. Although the power of dragon blood circulated endlessly, the consumption of soul power made Long Chun a little bit overwhelmed. However, when the 9 dragon blood veins appeared behind Long Chun, feeling the endless power of dragon blood surging in his body, at that moment, Long Chun felt that everything was worth it. Finally, the great consummation, Long Chun was very excited. Now he is full of strength, and he can't wait to find a master to fight now. Consummation? Thinking too much? Chaos Dragon Emperor said indifferently. How to say? Long Chun was taken aback. If what you have inherited is just the supernatural powers of the ordinary Emperor Dragon clan, it is indeed consummation at this time. But what you inherit is my inheritance, just like your 9-star hegemon body art. 9 is not a perfect number. Chaos Dragon Emperor said. Could it be that there are also 13 dragon blood veins? Long Chun was taken aback. But I feel that the power of the dragon veins has been saturated, so I can't condense new dragon veins? The reason why you were able to condense the dragon blood heaven veins so quickly was because of the Emperor's Dao Nilin. To put it bluntly, all these opportunities were given to you by the Emperor's Dao Nilin. Remember, it was given to you, and the next one needs to be grabbed by yourself. Speaking later, the voice of the Chaos Dragon Emperor became gloomy and solemn. Long Chun looked at the depths of the passage, where there were waves of fluctuations. Long Chun seemed to hear a powerful heartbeat, and at the same time felt a suffocating, terrifying coercion. At that moment, he understood that when he chose to use the power of Emperor Dao Nilin to condense the dragon veins, everything was already doomed. He wants to obtain the Emperor's Dao Nilin, and only by obtaining the Emperor's Dao Nilin can his dragon blood heaven vein be truly complete. And Huang Dao Nilin also wants to get him, perhaps because he has the original power of the Chaos Dragon Emperor, which it urgently needs. Today's Long Chun has no way out. Emperor Dao Nilin and him, only one can survive in this world. Have you sensed it? Chaos Dragon Emperor asked. I sensed it. It's an extremely cold, evil, and brutal will. Long Chen nodded. Actually, it's my demon. The voice of the Chaos Dragon Emperor became deeper and deeper. What? Chapter 56-55, Demon. When Long Chen heard this sentence, he almost didn't jump up, which was beyond Long Chen's imagination. However, after listening to the explanation of the Chaos Dragon Emperor, this simply overturned Long Chen's cognition. It turns out that not only the human race has heart demons, but the dragon race also has them. Moreover, the more powerful the dragon clan with the more sacred power, the stronger the inner demons, so all the holy dragon clans have their own ways to restrain the inner demons. Bless the totem for baptism, and seal the demons in their buds. But this method has a disadvantage, that is, sealing the inner demon will affect the growth of the deity, and even various talents will be more or less sealed, affecting future growth. Later, the Dragon Clan invented various supernatural powers to limit the inner demons, lest the inner demons become stronger and affect the deity, thus becoming demons. Later, the Dragon Clan discovered that using the power of heavenly tribulation to limit the demons is the best way, and it will cause the least damage to the body. Later, the Dragon Clan no longer sealed the inner demons, but began to work hard on the heavenly tribulation, using the power of the heavenly tribulation to suppress the weak inner demons, which became the best method for the Dragon Clan. The Chaos Dragon Emperor is very proud. It never uses the power of the heavenly tribulation to restrict the inner demon and allows it to grow, but the inner demon is always under the suppression of the Chaos Dragon Emperor and cannot affect it. The Chaos Dragon Emperor regards the inner demon as his sharpening stone. When there is no strong opponent, he will confront the inner demon to make himself stronger. But when it entered immortality, it found that something was wrong. Its demons could not compete with it for a long time, and it even had a tendency to self-destruct. It no longer improves itself, and no longer seeks to defeat the Chaos Dragon Emperor, but always wants to die with it. At this time, the Chaos Dragon Emperor realized that something was wrong, and finally forced the inner demon into the Nilean when he was crossing the Emperor's calamity, and sealed it up. Unpredictable changes happened later. This Emperor's reverse scale, which sealed the Chaos Dragon Emperor's heart demon, broke away from the Chaos Dragon Emperor's control and flowed into the Tianmai Profound Realm. But in the Tianmai Profound Realm, the heart demon is not willing to be trapped. It always wants to break through the blockade of the scales and regain freedom. From the mouth of the Chaos Dragon Emperor, I learned that during the countless years of being trapped by this heart demon, he actually found out the way to get out of it. Whenever it appears in the world, it will use the power of heaven and earth to release the power in the dragon scales. This power is not its power, but the power of the seal. According to the Chaos Dragon Emperor, as long as it is released again, the power of the seal will be reduced to the point where it can be broken. In fact, even if no dragon blood warrior intentionally lured it out, it would still show up. It's just the difference between a few months earlier and a few months later. Chaos Dragon Emperor deliberately let Emperor Nilean appear in advance, in fact, to buy time for Long Chen. According to the historical law of Tianmai Profound Realm, Emperor Nilean is always the last to show up. At that time, almost all the powerhouses of the Tianmai Profound Realm will gather here. At that time, everyone else will have perfect 9 meridians, but Long Chen will suffer a big loss in the realm, and facing so many enemies, Long Chen has no chance at all. Use the power of Emperor Dao Nilean to practice. To put it bluntly, all of this was within the expectations of the Chaos Dragon Emperor. The Emperor Dao Nilean attracted countless powerhouses, but the strongest level of monster powerhouses was less than 1/3 of the total number of people in the Tianmai Profound Realm. This is the best opportunity for Long Chen. Only then did Long Chen understand that the Chaos Dragon Emperor worked so hard, and everything was for him. This love is higher than the sky and thicker than the earth. Although it didn't tell Long Chen some things, Long Chen himself guessed it. It releases the power of the seal to attract the arrogances to compete for it. The power of the Emperor's way against the scale is a precious treasure for all living beings. The power of dragon blood can help them wash their tendons and cut their marrow. the power of Dragon Soul can stimulate the second growth of their soul power, and the will of Emperor Dao Nilin is the best way to temper the heart of the strong. Not to mention the sacred aura and the laws of the Imperial Way attached to the reverse scale of the Imperial Way, this is something that can drive countless creatures crazy. Even if they comprehend part of it, it is enough for them to easily advance to the human emperor. Chaos Dragon Emperor said, attracting people to come to compete, I'm afraid it's not as simple as weakening the seal? Longchen asked. That's right, when people compete for the emperor's way, there will inevitably be massacres. When massacres occur, evil thoughts mixed with unwilling souls are its great tonic. It uses the Imperial Dao Nilin as bait to cause the slaughter of all living beings. Dirty blood, greedy desires, twisted souls, and brutal will are all it needs. While weakening the power of the seal, strengthen oneself at the same time, this time the opening of the Tianmai Profound Realm, it will gain enough power to break the seal. And if you want to get the real power of dragon blood, you must defeat it. This inverse scale is different from the past. In order to seal it, I took almost 1/3 of the blood power. 1/3. Long Chen's heart was beating wildly. According to Long Chen's knowledge, the Dragon Clan shed the reverse scale, which is equivalent to saying goodbye to the past, and it will contain about 1/8 of the blood in the body. However, the Chaos Dragon Emperor actually consumed 1/3 of the blood power at that time, which shows that the problem is already very serious, and it has to give up so many blood to seal the demon. The Chaos Dragon Emperor said, the power of this bloodline is concentrated in the seal, but over the years, most of the power of the bloodline has been absorbed by it. Having absorbed most of it, wouldn't it be possible to break the seal easily? No, this is a trap I left behind. The more blood power it absorbs, the more it will be bound by the seal. It found something was wrong after absorbing most of the power of the bloodline, and then it stopped absorbing, and began to change its strategy, releasing the power of the seal, and attracting all living beings to fight. Hearing what the Chaos Dragon Emperor said, Long Chen couldn't help being shocked. The Chaos Dragon Emperor had left so much blood essence to seal the heart demon, and the heart demon was nourished by the blood essence. At this time, he didn't know how powerful he was. Seeming to see through Long Chen's thoughts, the Chaos Dragon Emperor said earnestly, you have been claiming to be invincible at the same level all the time. It is a demon from my advanced imperial realm, and its realm is at the peak of the heavenly sage. Only by defeating it can you be qualified to be called invincible at the same level, understand? Long Chen sucked in a breath of cold air. Although he always claimed to be invincible at the same level, Long Chen knew that this was only limited to the current world. Facing the aristocrats of the chaotic era, he was a bit hypocritical. Although he had defeated Hou Tianwu, Xiang Tu, Zhuang Fengfeng, Long Zhe and other strong men of the chaotic era, Long Chen knew that he was only a little stronger than them. Having just entered the Tianmai Profound Realm, I have encountered so many terrifying monsters, who can guarantee that there will be no monsters among monsters. Now, he had to face the demons of the Chaos Dragon Emperor again. Even if Long Chen was daring, he couldn't help but feel his scalp tingling. What? Scared? Chaos Dragon Emperor said indifferently. Afraid? Hey, I'm afraid that when I defeat it, you won't be able to hold back your face. Long Chen chuckled. Long Chen was a little nervous at first, but when he thought of fighting against the demons of the Chaos Dragon Emperor, he became slightly excited again. Chapter 5656, I have already passed on the dragon's blood rune to you. As for supernatural powers, I cannot teach you. Chaos Dragon Emperor said. Why? Long Chen was taken aback. The supernatural powers of the Dragon Clan are all evolved from these runes. If I teach you, it will only limit you. Supernatural tricks are nothing more than shapes. If I teach you, you will be easily trapped by the shape, thus narrowing your imagination. You have already learned tricks such as Yunlong presenting claws, Shenlong wagging tail, dragon roaring to the 9 heavens, emperor's blood seal, etc. You should learn to understand by analogy and know everything from what you hear. The talent of the human race lies in wisdom. You should give full play to them. The magical powers of the dragon race may not necessarily suit you, so you have to integrate the runes of the dragon race, and tailor your own dragon dust's magical powers for yourself. My things are mine after all, just like the Lord of 9 Stars, his things are his after all, others can only imitate at best. Just like you, Long Chen, who came all the way from the mortal world and rose like a comet. How many people fear you, worship you, and try to learn from you? But you also know that the real strong are unique and cannot be copied. Been taught a lesson, Long Chen nodded, with an excited expression on his face. The reminder from the Chaos Dragon Emperor made Long Chen suddenly have a feeling of turning the clouds and seeing the sun, as if the vision in front of him suddenly became clearer. The Chaos Dragon Emperor was actually hinting at Long Chen that he had been trapped by the form of the 9-star hegemony body art for too long. His thinking became rigid, and he finally lost his mind. The shape in the mouth of the Chaos Dragon Emperor is a pun, which is tantamount to telling Long Chen not to be too entangled in what the ultimate form of the 8-star battle body should look like. After all, form is form, not God. What is God? God should be the spiritual core of the 9-star hegemony body art. Long Chen has never thought about this issue. Now, like an enlightenment, he seems to have grasped the key at once. With a flicker, Long Chen came under the 7-treasure glazed glass tree. Long Chen found that almost all of the 30 million disciples of the Fengshanhai Pavilion had condensed their natal veins, but about 80% of them were basically a natal vein. Looking at these people, Long Chen couldn't help sighing in his heart. He gave these people a chance, but unfortunately he couldn't help them change their fate against the sky. A natal meridian is already their limit. However, there are also some people with extremely high talents and excellent understanding who have already condensed 3 or 4 natal veins. Only those who have the natal veins can exert the power of natality to the extreme. There is a huge gap between these people and ordinary celestial beings. The strength between the two is not the same. Looking at the Hidden Dragon Legion again, Long Chen was delighted that the Hidden Dragon Warriors had condensed 6 heavenly dragon energy, and Xiaoye and the others even condensed 7. Seeing the lineup of the Hidden Dragon Legion made Long Chen feel proud. He personally selected the fighters of the Hidden Dragon Legion. This group of kind and resolute girls has gone through cruel and bloody training in the 7 treasures dimension. They have broken through the threshold of life and death, and they can see their nature clearly. This proves that Long Chen's vision is very vicious. However, although Long Chen provided them with the best conditions for cultivation, the ability to have what they are today is inseparable from their determination to survive after death. Others are practicing hard, but they are practicing hard, and it is precisely because of this that they have achieved their current proud achievements. When Long Chen looked at Tang Weiner, he couldn't help being startled, and couldn't help counting the natal dragon veins behind Tang Weiner with his fingers. 1, 2, 8, 9, 10, it's really 10 Tianmai Dragon Qi. When Long Chen saw the 10 Tianmai Dragon Qi, Long Chen was stunned. 9 is the extreme, and if you break through again, you will enter the human emperor realm, but Tang Weiner has condensed 10 dragon energy in the sky. Could it be? Long Chen was surprised and delighted. Don't think that you are the only one who can condense the 13 heavenly dragon energy. The Fengshen's inheritance is very powerful. Moreover, Fengshen's luck has not been cut off, and Feng Xinyue has poured all the luck of Fengshen's lineage into her body. It won't be long before she will condense the 11th Tianmai dragon energy, and the speed will far exceed you. Chaos Dragon Emperor said, "Hey, that's great. With such a powerful daughter-in-law, let me try the feeling of enjoying the shade under the big tree." Long Chen laughed. "Prospect," the Chaos Dragon Emperor sneered, obviously despising Long Chen's idea. Long Chen spread his hands. "To find such a strong daughter-in-law, isn't it my strength? What's wrong with this? Your thinking is too decadent." Long Chen quietly came under the 7-treasure glazed tile tree without disturbing anyone. He glanced at a man who was still sleeping, snoring constantly, like thunder roaring, a little scary. However, in addition to the snoring, there were also some strange grunting noises. After listening carefully, Long Chen couldn't help laughing, feeling that a man's stomach was rumbling. Although a man consumes the least amount of energy in a deep sleep state, his own energy consumption is too astonishing. It may not be long before he wakes up from starvation and has to eat. Seeing that everything was safe, Long Chen didn't waste any more time. He slowly closed his eyes, bathed in the divine brilliance of the 7-treasure glazed glass tree, and 9 blood-colored dragons appeared behind him. Different from other people's vague dragon veins, this giant dragon is lifelike, like a living thing. With the divine brilliance flowing in its eyes, the dragon's power is stirring, and it looks down on the eternity. Inside the scales of the giant dragon, runes circulated. These are the blood runes passed down to Long Chen by the Chaos Dragon Emperor, all gathered on the dragon scales. Not only the scales, but also dragon horns, dragon claws, dragon fins, and even dragon teeth are covered by runes. These runes were not deliberately arranged by Long Chen, but after the successful condensing, it found its own place to stay of. 9 dragons gather, blood energy rises, enveloping Long Chen heavily. The divine splendor of the 7-treasure glazed glass tree passes through the blood-colored mist and reflects on Long Chen's body. At this time, Long Chen carries endless sacred aura, just like the Dragon Emperor descending into the world, staring at him with disdain eternal. Long Chen's mind was clear. At this time, his heart was like still water, like a mirror, reflecting the endless blood-colored runes. He just looked at them quietly, let them evolve by themselves, and felt their fluctuations with his heart. Enlightenment is a kind of mysterious thing. Sometimes it seems to gain a lot, and sometimes it seems to have nothing, but no matter whether you get it or lose it, you must always keep your heart clear. If you are always in a state of worrying about gains and losses, it will not take long. People are crazy. Time passed bit by bit, Long Chen just felt it with his heart, and didn't care about gains and losses. What he didn't know was that the 9 dragons behind it became more and more solid, and the scales began to show a unique luster. It showed a dazzling edge. Suddenly, the void trembled, waking everyone up, and Long Chen had to stop feeling and open his eyes. Boom! Suddenly there was a bang, and the space channel collapsed. Chapter 56-57 The space collapsed, thousands of roads roared, and the whole world was trembling nonstop. Suddenly, a trembling breath hit, and strange ripples appeared in the space. When he saw those ripples, Long Chen's face changed slightly. Long Chen dodged, came to the front of Wanlong's nest, slapped his big hand. Wanlong's nest trembled suddenly, and the door of Wanlong's nest opened with a bang. Before everyone understood what was going on, a huge suction suddenly hit, and everyone was sucked into Wanlong's nest in an instant. "Brother Longchen, what's going on?" Xiao Ye and the others exclaimed, just about to ask what happened. Boom! Suddenly, a violent wind came, and the huge 10,000 dragons' nest was shaken by the terrifying wind, and everyone couldn't stand still. Long Chen opened the vision of Wanlong's nest, and saw outside Wanlong's nest, the wind roared, the blood-colored wind blade cut the sky, and the endless cracks were densely covered, like a piece of purgatory on earth. Looking at the scene outside, Tang Weiner and the others couldn't help being shocked. Fortunately, everyone had entered the 10,000 dragons' nest, otherwise they would have been crushed by the terrifying blood-colored wind blades, and I don't know how many people would have died on the spot. This wind blade covers almost the entire world, and there is no escape. According to Long Chen's estimation, facing this wind blade, a person who has condensed 3 natal veins can barely resist, but only condenses 2 natal veins. Whether the strong Tianmai can survive depends on luck. Those who only condense 1 natal meridian and ordinary heavenly sages will undoubtedly die. The most terrifying thing is that this wave of bloody wind blades came too suddenly, and there was no chance for anyone to prepare. Such a bloody wind blade, even if it is a strong man who has condensed 3 natal dragon veins, if it is too late to activate the defense, it will be easily injured or even killed. Long Chen looked at the bloody wind blade, and a mocking look gradually appeared on his face. In the bloody wind blade, he felt an evil aura. He knew that it was the conspiracy of Emperor Dao Nilin, and it had completely awakened, which also indicated that bloody killings were about to occur. Perhaps it can be said that this is all a conspiracy of Emperor Dao Nilin, who used himself as a bait to lure all the arrogances to kill to help it out of trouble. The reason why Long Chen was able to avoid danger in advance was because his dragon blood power sensed the murderous aura of Emperor Dao Nilin. Using conspiracies and tricks? That's not the style of the proud dragon clan. Long Chen sneered in his heart. For the first time, Long Chen felt contempt for the demon of the Chaos Dragon Emperor, because from the aura of Emperor Dao Nilin, Long Chen felt its evil and insidious character of seeking ends without compromise. The dragon blood in Long Chen's body, and the dragon blood of Emperor Dao Nilin, all came from the Chaos Dragon Emperor. At that moment, Long Chen seemed to see a pair of evil eyes, looking at him through the endless void. And Long Chen also looked in that direction. The sarcasm on his face became more obvious, and at the same time, blood and fighting spirit kept rising. Boom! The bloody wind blade kept stirring, and the huge Wanlong's nest was blown away, but the Wanlong's nest was unmatched. Even if it was not in a defensive state, this attack would not damage it at all. Emperor Dao Nilin's attack range was extremely wide, and Wanlong's nest was blown upside down. After an entire hour, the storm stopped, and Long Chen didn't know where he was blown. The storm subsided, and the power of the gushing dragon blood came to an abrupt end, and the Wanlong nest could no longer absorb more power. Boss, at this moment, Gu Yang and the others woke up one after another. When they saw Long Chen, Gu Yang and the others were surprised and delighted. At this time, Gu Yang, Li Qi, Song Mingyuan, Xia Chen, Guoran and others have already condensed 8 natal dragon veins, each of which is full of dragon energy, and the power of the blood veins is flowing back and forth around the body, as if the blood in the whole body is about to explode. And the other dragon blood warriors are already 6-veined heavenly saints, and the sergeants are basically 7-veined heavenly saints. At this time, the dragon blood warriors stood in front of them, disciples of Feng Shinhage. Guys, I felt my scalp go numb for a while. Although everyone can be regarded as comrades in arms, standing in front of the dragon blood warriors, their sharp aura makes people tremble from the depths of their souls. Where's Xiao Lu and Poet? After Xiaojiu, Xiaola and Sister Shirshir entered the Tianmai Xian realm, they all sensed the call of opportunity, and the 3 of them split up and acted separately. We have been summoning Emperor Dao Nilin, but there has been no news of them. Xia Morning Road. At this time, the 8 natal dragon veins behind Xia Chen were slowly swimming. His dragon veins were completely different from those of other people. Looking carefully, his dragon veins were actually made up of pieces of talisman seals. The power of the dragon's blood soared, and it seemed that it would explode at any time, giving people an extremely dangerous feeling. Boss, where are the bastards from the Sky Demon Alliance? We're going to kill them right now. This group of animals deserves to die. Guoran clenched his fists and said through gritted teeth. Before Guoran and the others exhausted their dragon energy and drew out the Emperor Dao Nilin, when their vitality was seriously injured, the strong man of the Sky Demon Alliance appeared in front of them like a hyena-smelling carrion. The dragon blood warriors were almost exhausted. Being besieged by these guys, they were so aggrieved that they humiliated them in various ways. Guoran's lungs were about to explode. Now not only the body has recovered, but also the natal dragon veins have been condensed, and the strength has skyrocketed. It is time for revenge. If you want revenge, you have to find a way to awaken your dragon veins first. Long Chen didn't answer directly, pointing to the dragon veins behind Guoran and said with a smile. Following Long Chen's finger, everyone's eyes turned to Guoran's back. When they saw the 8 dragon veins behind Guoran, all the experts in the Fengshanhai Pavilion suddenly had strange expressions. The appearance of a funny smile. Guoran didn't understand what was going on, but when he turned his head to look, he was speechless for a while. Other people's dragon veins were circulating and swimming, but his 8 dragon veins hung motionless in the air as if they were dead. It's all right to be motionless, there are still 2 big snot bubbles in the nostrils, and they keep getting bigger and smaller as they breathe, and they look like they are sleeping soundly. Guoran was so angry that he wanted to beat them up, but was stopped by Long Chen. The group of guys have already run away, let them sleep, this can be regarded as recharging their energy. Long Chen briefly explained what happened. When everyone heard that there was such a thrilling battle, they were all in a cold sweat. Fortunately, a man came in time, otherwise the Dragon Blood Legion would really be destroyed by these animals. Inside, the Heavenly Demon Alliance must pay the price in blood. Gu Yang gritted his teeth. These guys are too hateful. Revenge, don't be in a hurry. Come on, let me introduce you to the sisters of the Hidden Dragon Legion. From now on, we will be a family. After Long Chen finished speaking, he looked at Tang Weiner and smiled. At that moment, the faces of the female soldiers of the Hidden Dragon Legion were blushing. Chapter 56-58. This time the Dragon Blood Legion and the Hidden Dragon Legion came into contact with each other head-on. Just hearing the names of the two legions, everyone already knew it by heart. The female warriors of the Hidden Dragon Legion have always been full of curiosity and anticipation for the mysterious Dragon Blood Legion. However, when they saw the Dragon Blood warriors, they were so nervous that they could not speak. Don't dare to see the Dragon Blood warriors. Even Xiaoye, who has always been known for being tough and decisive in killing, has become a little shy at this time and dare not speak at all. The Hidden Dragon warriors are very nervous, and the Dragon Blood warriors are not much better. They have followed Long Chen for so many years. How could they not know what Long Chen was thinking? But this group of warriors who wouldn't even frown when going up the mountain of swords or down into the sea of blood were a little nervous at this moment. Even Guoran, who had always been coquettish, didn't know how to break this embarrassing situation. A group of finished bastards. Seeing the cowardly appearance of the Dragon Blood warriors, Long Chen couldn't help being speechless for a while. Hee, if they were half as thick as your skin, they wouldn't be single. Tang Weiner couldn't help giggling. Fuck, are you praising me or scolding me? Long Chen rolled his eyes. Tang Weiner smiled and said nothing, but this embarrassing situation must be broken. If we don't know each other well, how can we communicate further? This is Wanlong's nest. As the owner of this place, shouldn't you introduce it to the guests? Aren't you going to show them around here? Long Chen couldn't help reminding. Only then did Guoran come to his senses and hurriedly said, Fairies, please do me a favor and come in with our brothers, and let us show our friendship as landlords. Guoran's mouth is also stupid at this time, and he can't say those beautiful words at the moment, but no matter what, it's enough for others to understand. Following Guoran's movements, the Dragon Blood warriors collectively made a gesture of invitation, and the Hidden Dragon warriors blushed, not daring to look at them, so they could only walk over nervously. The interior of Wanlong's nest is very large, with countless checkpoints, countless inner rooms, and even hidden small worlds, which contain countless dragon secrets. Long Chen knew that the love experience of most Dragon Blood warriors and Hidden Dragon warriors was blank, and for them to get in touch with themselves, they needed an entry point. And the magical powers of the Dragon Clan are the best entry point, so that they will have a common topic, and they can even discuss and communicate. Once the chatterbox is opened, the two sides will not be so nervous. There are some disciples of Fengshanhai Pavilion who can't tell Dao Dao, and they want to go in with them, but they are stopped by people with winks. They are on a blind date, so what's the matter with you going in? Brothers, you can also visit the 10,000 Dragons Nest by yourself. In the 10,000 Dragons Nest, there are magical powers of the Dragon Clan, and there are even challenges in the arena. If you are interested, you can also specialize and learn together. Long Chen said with a smile. When Long Chen said this, everyone couldn't help being ecstatic. The Dragon Clan has always been mysterious, and Long Chen actually shared the secret of the Dragon Clan with them, which shows that he completely regards them as his own. Long Chen not only shared the original Jiuli talisman with them, but also opened up the secret of Wanlong Nest to them, which moved them very much. Compared with the harvest, they cherished Long Chen's trust more. Long Chen's miraculous skills are unrivaled, and he is full of pride. Facing such a proud son of heaven, they only have the qualifications to look up to. It is a supreme honor to be trusted by such a person. As a guide, the Dragon Blood Legion led the Hidden Dragon warriors into the depths of the 10,000 Dragons' lair, and told how they defeated the terrifying existence in the level and what magical powers they obtained. Not only did the hidden dragon warriors understand the hardships of the dragon blood warriors, but they could also try to break through and fight fiercely with the dragon warriors inside. The dragon blood warriors will also personally demonstrate the supernatural powers of the dragon clan in the level and communicate with the hidden dragon warriors. One group is passionate men, and the other group is kind-hearted women. They embarked on the road of spiritual practice because they want to change their destiny. The feeling of seeing it late. The hidden dragon warriors were very nervous at first, because they knew that every fighter of the Hidden Dragon Legion was frighteningly strong. Such a strong person in any sect is lonely, indifferent, unattainable, and often looks down on others. But after getting in touch with them, they discovered that the Dragon Blood Warriors are a group of enthusiastic and loyal big boys, and being with them makes people let go of all defenses, and that kind of sense of security is something they have never experienced before. And the Dragon Blood Warriors also discovered that the girls of the Hidden Dragon Legion are all kind-hearted women. Looking at them, they will naturally have the desire to protect them. In the past, Dragon Blood Warriors did not dare to get involved in love affairs for the sake of practice, even though Long Chen had reminded them more than once that only by understanding true love can they understand the true way of heaven, and loving someone is also a kind of practice. However, the Dragon Blood Warriors witnessed the fall of Yi Zhiqiu and Yu Qingxian with their own eyes. They will never forget the pain in their lives. Long Chen's painful appearance deeply hurt their hearts. As powerful as Long Chen, they can't protect their lover, so how dare they touch love? If a man can't even protect his lover, they don't know if they still have the courage to live. Therefore, for so many years, the Dragon Blood Warriors have devoted themselves to cultivation and cut off the desire for love, but today, seeing those pure faces and kind eyes, their hearts as firm as steel are gradually softened. Dragon Dust, Long Chen and Tang Weiner were in a large hall, and on the wall appeared the scene of Dragon Blood Warriors and Hidden Dragon Warriors holding hands, singing and dancing. Tang Weiner held Long Chen's hand, and leaned her pretty face on Long Chen's shoulder, said softly, "If there were no disputes and killings, this 10,000 dragons nest might be the paradise we dreamed of." Long Chen put his arms around Tang Weiner's fragrant shoulders, sniffed Tang Weiner's unique hair fragrance, and said with a slight smile, "With each other hidden in our hearts, where is not heaven?" Tang Weiner listened to Long Chen's words, and suddenly smiled. "This guy really can talk," she said leisurely. "Acacia and the two lands are drenched in snow, and this life is also considered to be white? Long Chen, I suddenly miss them very much." When she said the last sentence, Tang Weiner couldn't help sobbing. She thought of Meng Qi, Chu Yao, Yu Zhiqiu and other sisters. Now she is no longer the Tang Weiner who only knows how to be jealous and play petty temper. After experiencing so many setbacks and tribulations, she has grown up. When she thinks of how her sisters took care of and tolerated her back then, she feels ashamed and angry with herself. Responsibility. Now she is leaning against Long Chen, enjoying Long Chen's embrace, but she doesn't know where the other sisters are, or even if they are alive or dead. Thinking of this, she suddenly feels as if a knife is piercing her heart. Hearing Tang Weiner's words, Long Chen's heart ached for a while. Thinking of the disappearance of so many confidants, his heart was about to break. "I have to become stronger, you must be mine." As soon as Long Chen gritted his teeth, he knew that strong strength could allow him to reunite with them earlier, and drove Wanlong Nest slowly towards the direction of Emperor Dao Niling. Chapter 56-59. Long Chen was not in a hurry, because the Chaos Dragon Emperor said that Emperor Dao Niling is very insidious and cunning, and its goal is to attract more powerful people to fight to absorb their death power. If it was before, the goal of Emperor Dao Niling was to break the seal, but now it has two goals. One is to break the seal, and the other is to kill Long Chen and suck all his dragon blood. It stands to reason that the sooner Long Chen can rush there, the better, because right now, many experts are still scattered in all directions of the Tianmai profound realm, and are still fighting for their own opportunities. If these people will definitely come to compete for the Imperial Dao Niling after they get their own opportunities, then the pressure on Long Chen will be countless times greater than it is now. But Long Chen knew that it would be as difficult as reaching the sky if he wanted to obtain the Emperor's Dao Niling, and he was plagued by bad luck, so it was simply wishful thinking to get it by luck. Moreover, Long Chen had a premonition that no matter how he calculated or avoided, he would still be unable to avoid a battle with all the strong ones in the end. That being the case, Long Chen simply gave up all his luck and made the worst plan. Even if he is the enemy of the whole world, he must win the Imperial Dao Nilin. Wanlong's nest moved forward slowly, but inside Wanlong's nest was full of jubilation. The Dragon Blood Warriors and Hidden Dragon Warriors sang and danced, as if they had returned to their childhood and found their buried innocence. After Long Chen asked Xiachen to control the direction of Wanlong's nest, he chose to retreat. Long Chen was in a secret space in Wanlong's nest. It was dark and there was no light. Long Chen was in the darkness, and a pair of huge eyes appeared behind him, which were full of evil breath. This is one of the strongest trial spaces in Wanlong's nest. At the beginning, Gu Yang made a total of 17 desperate attempts to pass this test with a little bit of luck. This is the space of the Dark Evil Dragon, which is guarded by the remnant soul of the Evil Dragon in the era of chaos. At this time, when it saw Long Chen coming, its eyes suddenly became fierce. Just as it was about to attack in the form of a dragon, Long Chen said coldly, "Don't move, I'm going to use your eyeballs as an experiment." However, when Long Chen finished speaking, the evil dragon's eyes suddenly showed horror, and it suddenly found that a powerful force had imprisoned it, unable to move. "The power of the Emperor's blood, how could you?" the evil dragon's remnant soul exclaimed. "Shut up," Long Chen frowned and said coldly. The remnant soul of the dark evil dragon was so frightened that it didn't dare to speak anymore. Long Chen came to it and sat down with his back to it. "Don't resist," Long Chen said coldly, and suddenly closed his eyes slowly. As Long Chen closed his eyes, the dark evil dragon's eyes also closed. Suddenly Long Chen opened his eyes, and there was darkness in his eyes. In his eyes, 3,000 runes flickered and intertwined continuously, and the pattern of a hexagram gradually emerged. At the same time, 3,000 runes circulated in the sea of stars in Long Chen's dantian, and the hexagrams in Long Chen's eyes were their projections. Whether it can be done or not depends on this move. Long Chen took a deep breath. This was a very bold idea of his. Suddenly, the six-pointed star circulated in Long Chen's eyes, and the pattern of the six-pointed star also appeared in the eyes of the dark evil dragon behind him, but the direction of the six-pointed star in its eyes was actually reversed. Suddenly the spinning hexagram stopped, and a picture appeared in the evil dragon's huge eyes. In that picture is a boundless sea of blood, and in the middle of the sea of blood is a high mountain made of piles of white bones. The high mountain is tens of thousands of miles long, straight into the sky, but in the endless sea of blood, it is as small as a drop in the ocean. Below the sea of blood, if you look carefully, you can see endless unjust souls swimming, and you can also hear their whimpers and howls. On the top of the white bone mountain, there is a throne. On the throne, a man in white can be faintly seen sitting on it. The man in white seems to have noticed something, and suddenly looks up to the sky. Inside Wanlong's nest, the evil dragon let out a scream, its eyes burst open, dragon blood flowed, and it kept howling in pain. "What is that?" the evil dragon roared, its voice filled with endless fear. The hexagram pattern in Long Chen's eyes slowly disappeared, and a satisfied smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. "Thanks." After Long Chen finished speaking, he left the evil dragon space, and when Long Chen returned to the great hall of Wanlong Nest had become quiet. The Dragon Blood Warrior, the Hidden Dragon Warrior, and all the disciples of Fengshen Hage began to practice again, because with the advance of Wanlong Nest, the disappearing power of the Imperial Way appeared again, and they naturally would not miss this opportunity to improve. The current power is richer and more powerful than the one coming from the space channel. Wanlong Nest has its own magic circle, which will automatically gather the power of the Imperial Way here. The power of the Imperial Way not only carries the power of dragon blood, but also has the laws of heaven and earth, as well as a powerful sacred aura. For any race, this is a great supplement. Once you miss it, you will regret it for life. The time we spend together is beautiful and happy, But both Dragon Blood Warriors and Hidden Dragon Warriors know that this beauty and happiness is short-lived. If you don't work hard to improve, everything will be ruthlessly deprived of everything. It will turn into endless pain and regret. Only by becoming strong enough can you protect this beauty. This is the cruelty of practice. As long as you don't stand on the top of the 9 heavens, everything you have today may be wiped out tomorrow. Boss, in Wanlong's nest, only Xiachen did not retreat, because he wanted to control the direction of Wanlong's nest and the movement outside. This time it's a complete change. Long Chen patted Xiachen on the shoulder and said with a smile. Xiachen said a little excitedly, "The natal dragon veins are condensed, and it has indeed been reborn. I feel that my spring has come." So fast? Congratulations. Long Chen was stunned for a moment, and then his face became happy. Cough, boss, you may have misunderstood. The spring I mentioned is not the spring you think. Xiachen said with some embarrassment. Long Chen immediately rolled his eyes. He thought that Xiachen had found the girl he liked among the Hidden Dragon Warriors. After all, Xiachen had a sad past, and he hadn't come out for so many years. He was happy for him in vain. What I mean is that I condensed the talisman into the natal dragon vein. The dragon vein is endless, the talisman is endless, the blood is endless, and the dragon vein is endless. Xiachen said. Long Chen couldn't help being moved. This is amazing, using the power of blood to condense the runes, with the blessing of the dragon soul. The blood is the source, the blood is not exhausted, and the runes can't be used up. Xiachen's talisman seals are amazingly powerful, but they also have a huge flaw. That is, engraving talisman seals requires a lot of time and experience. In every battle, Xiachen's savings will be exhausted, and then he will continue to carve talismans desperately. In the entire Dragon Blood Legion, he is the busiest. And a rune master, without the formation plate and talisman seals, was cut off like a tiger and had his teeth pulled out, almost useless. But now Xiachen can condense the talisman with the power of blood, which is scary. No wonder this guy is so excited. Indeed, his spring is here. There are people fighting in front. It's the human race. Suddenly Xiachen exclaimed. Through the formation of Wanlong Nest, Xiachen caught the fluctuation of the battle, and at the same time sensed the breath of the human race. Go and have a look. Chapter 5660, Boom Boom Boom. There was a loud noise ahead, although there was still a distance. But through the formation of Wanlong Nest, Long Chen could already see the situation ahead. I saw 2 teams of strong human races fighting frantically. The ground was full of corpses, and the mountains and rivers were stained red with blood. The battle was extremely tragic. The powerhouses of the 2 teams are all human races, but from their costumes, Long Chen couldn't recognize their origins. One of the teams has tens of millions of people. It is huge and powerful, and there are hundreds of thousands of strong people. In the battle, it has an absolute upper hand. On the other hand, the other team had less than half the number of the opponent, and most of them were injured. As the battle continued, more and more casualties occurred. They rushed from left to right, trying to break through the blockade, but their way was firmly blocked. Sealed, like fish in a net, no matter how they struggle, it will not help, and it is only a matter of time before they perish. You bastards of Kingmen, you will die badly. Just wait for our Tianmen Villa's unending revenge. Among the strong men under siege, a 9-veined heavenly sage was covered in blood, holding a sharp sword while slashing desperately. Roar. What surprised Long Chen was that this person turned out to be a strong man who had condensed 9 natal veins, but this person's aura was vain, and the power of the heavenly veins fluctuated abnormally. It seemed that he had no strength and could not use it. And among the strong men who besieged him, the strongest one was only the heavenly saints of the 7 meridians. Although there were more than a dozen of them, logically speaking, let alone a dozen heavenly saints of the 7 meridians, even 100 heavenly saints of the 7 meridians would not. He is not qualified to challenge a Jumai Tianxing. Soon Long Chen saw the clues. This 9 meridians heavenly sage should have used external force to forcibly break through. He either used a secret method, or encountered some kind of opportunity, and condensed 9 natal veins at once. But the 9 meridians in this state need to grow in the later stage, otherwise the power of the 9 meridians will not be able to be exerted at all. It is precisely because his opponents saw this that they took action to deal with them. Wan Xiaoshan, my dear young owner of Tianmen Mountain Villa, how old are you to say such childish things? Revenge? How to revenge? Today your entire army was wiped out. Who knew we did it? What if we knew we did it? My Qinghe sect has already joined Brahma God. Do you Tianmen Villa dare to take revenge on Brahma's lineage? Brother Fan Tianda has already said that if there is a race in Tianmai Xian who refuses to submit to Brahma's lineage, they will be killed without mercy. Among the strong men on the opposite side, a man holding a strange sword said with a gloomy expression. The long sword in the man's hand was full of sawtooth in the front and 2 teeth inlaid in the middle of the blade. It turned out to be a rare soft sword. In his hand, the long sword was flying up and down, like a spirit snake spitting out letters. His moves were weird and fierce. Among the many strong men, he was the biggest threat to Wan Xiaoshan. Go to your mother's Brahma, the bastard who lives in a mouse-carrying gun nest, doesn't know how to deal with foreign enemies, only knows how to stir up internal fighting among the human race. Although our Tianmen Villa is small, we don't bother to worship under the command of this bastard. Wan Xiaoshan roared. However, when he roared, he was distracted, and was almost stabbed between the eyebrows by the man's soft sword. Although he avoided the vital point at a critical moment, the tip of the sword still cut his forehead, and half of his face was instantly stained red with blood. Idiot, if you don't know the current affairs, you will be ruthlessly eliminated. I am too lazy to talk nonsense with you. I will ask you one last thing, hand over all the treasures, and spare you from dying. Tian Wenjing, keep my word. The man shouted loudly. Hearing this, Long Qin instantly understood that Tian Wenjing's feelings are not a thing. He used the tiger's skin as a banner to brazenly rob him in the name of Brahma. As long as they didn't join the forces of Brahma's lineage and they could beat them, they would not hesitate to blackmail them. It has to be said that this Tian Wenjing is insidious and has a vicious vision. He even saw that Wan Xiaoshan has no realm but can't show his strength. He not only wants treasures, but also wants to get the secret of Wan Xiaoshan's advancement to Jumai Tianxing. Although some opportunities cannot be copied, but in case, if there is a mistake, don't make a mistake. Fuck your mother Tian Wenjing, you don't even look in the mirror to see your P-sex, just with your sinister and vicious face, I would rather believe a dog's fart than what you say. Although my Tianmen Villa is small, I also have arrogance. I would rather be a piece of jade than a tile. You may kill us, but you want us to surrender? Go dreaming. Wan Xiaoshan roared. Boom. Wan Xiaoshan already knew that he would be unlucky today. He had to fight to the death. If he could kill one more, he would directly burn the power of the dragon veins and launch a berserk charge. With Wan Xiaoshan's desperate efforts, Tian Wenjing and others immediately took defensive positions, so they wouldn't be so stupid as to fight Wan Xiaoshan recklessly. As long as Wan Xiaoshan passed this wave of momentum, he would enter a period of weakness, and then he could only let the mermaid go. Sure enough, after several tricks, Wan Xiaoshan's aura dropped rapidly. At that moment, Wan Xiaoshan's eyes were full of despair and unwillingness. He knew that today he must not fall into their hands, otherwise he would not be able to survive or die. On the occasion of suicide, a colossal object covered the sky, the vast dragon's power radiated, and thousands of roars roared. The strong men in the battle felt their bodies sinking suddenly, and their souls trembled under the pressure of that terrifying force, and they couldn't help but look up. Then they saw a huge 10,000 dragons' nest, like a moving space fortress. The strong sense of oppression made everyone stop fighting. Brahma's lineage handles the internal affairs of the human race. What advice do friends of the dragon race have? Tian Wenjing saw Wanlong's nest and thought it was a strong man from the dragon race passing by. He shouted loudly. He brought up the name of Brahma, and at the same time pointed out that it was an internal matter of the human race. I have to say that this guy's speech is still a bit level. Not only did he cover up the fact that he killed and robbed him, he was able to frighten the other party, and he also maintained a certain degree of humility. Return Brahma's vein? Made your sister go to hell. However, it was Xia Chen's scolding that answered him. Call out. Suddenly there was a piercing sound, but the sound appeared, shaking in all directions, and no one knew where the sound came from. Puff! Suddenly, a divine light appeared, and people saw a golden light flash, and Tian Wenjing's head was pierced. When the golden light penetrated Tian Wenjing's head, people saw that it was actually a talisman. The whole body of the Fuzhuan was glowing with divine light, and it looked like scales, showing its sharpness and unparalleled sharpness. Looking forward, Tian Wenjing only uttered one word, then slowly fell down, and was killed by a single blow. Boom! However, the moment he fell, the scale talisman that was in mid-air exploded, turning into countless fragments, and shooting towards all directions. Chi. Every piece of fragment hit the heads of the surrounding experts with precision, bringing out a rain of blood. Chapter 56-61 The blood rained all over the sky, slowly falling. Wan Xiaoshan looked at the scene in front of him in horror, as if he was in a dream. Plop, plop, plop. One by one the figures fell slowly, and their expressions before they died were the same as Tian Wenjing's, with a blank look on their faces, and they didn't know what happened at all. Hundreds of strong men were killed instantly. These people were the strongest of Qinghe sect. Now, including Tian Wenjing, all of them were killed. The strong men of Qinghe sect were instantly stunned. Everything happened so suddenly, it was like a dream, but it was a dream for Wan Xiaoshan and others, but it was a nightmare for the strong men of Kingman. Pretty, standing in Wanlong's nest, Long Chen couldn't help giving his thumbs up when he saw Xia Chen killing so many strong men in the air with a talisman. As an array mage and rune master, Xia Chen's ability to control the talismans is astonishing. There is no way, his soul power is limited, and he dare not waste any money. All money will be spent wisely. After condensing the natal dragon veins, Xia Chen's celestial power replaced the power of the soul, and was assisted by the dragon soul. In this way, the power of the original surged thousands of times in an instant. And the soaring power did not affect his control at all. On the contrary, his control over the talismans reached an almost abnormal level. The talisman pierced the air, distorted the space, and confused everyone's senses. Even a strong man like Tian Wenjing was deceived in his perception of death and was killed with a single blow. And after that talisman killed Tian Wenjing, with the power of Tian Wenjing's blood essence as the ignition point, all the power in the talisman was detonated and turned into talismans the size of rice grains. Although the talisman is small, its power is extremely amazing. What amazed Long Chen was that so many shattered talisman seals could hit the vital points precisely. This control is too abnormal. Boom! Xia Chen killed the top masters of Kingman with one blow, and Wanlong's nest continued to move forward. Xia Chen didn't bother to deal with those miscellaneous fish of Kingman. Thank you for saving your life, and please leave your name. I, Wan Xiaoshan, will definitely repay you in the future. Wan Xiaoshan shouted hurriedly, seeing that Wanlong's nest was about to leave. Help me kill this group of miscellaneous fish. Long Chen was not polite, and directly gave him a chance to repay. Ah! Wan Xiaoshan was stunned. What is this? But at this time, Wanlong's nest had already roared away and disappeared. Wan Xiaoshan gritted his teeth and shouted, "Kill them all for me, none of them can escape." This Brahma is so arrogant, he actually wants to unify the human race in the Tianmai Xian realm. Xia Chen said in Wanlong's nest. People in Brahma's lineage are all pissed, especially the so-called sons of Brahma, who are so crazy that they can't talk through their brains. Long Chen curled his lips and said, "However, with such a big backer behind us, it seems that the brain is really not needed, but we don't even have the qualifications to be stupid." Xia Chen smiled, but there was also a hint of helplessness in his smile. The so-called but determines the head, and the position determines the thought. No matter who sits in Brahma's position, stretches out his clothes, stretches out his hands and opens his mouth, he can get whatever he wants. It seems that there is no need to use the brain. If the brain is not used for a long time, the brain will degenerate. So there will be a strange phenomenon, That is, some people are clearly sitting in a high position, but they speak like idiots, and the things they do are hopelessly stupid. The mountains will fall and the father will grow old. In this world, nothing is static. The power of others belongs to others after all. No matter how powerful the backer is, there will be a day of collapse. Power is the most real only if it is in one's own hands. No matter how strong Brahma is, and no matter how brilliant Brahma's lineage is, what does it have to do with him? He'll still be looking like an idiot when I cut off his head. Long Chen said lightly. Xia Chen laughed, following Long Chen for so long. How many so-called arrogances were in the hands of the boss, and their expressions when they were dying were really similar, and some were even exactly the same. Sometimes it is really ironic to think about it, why so many people can only wake up suddenly when they are dying, but it is too late. Boss, you are already the heavenly sage of 9 meridians. This time, we will definitely be able to sweep through the heavenly meridian profound realm and beat that Brahma man out of shit. Xia Chen clenched his fists and said excitedly, the Dragon Blood Legion and Brahma's lineage are inseparable, and the battle to destroy the world in Tianwu continent was planned by Brahma's lineage. On the battlefield, the death of the Dragon Blood warriors has always been an indelible pain in his heart. The hatred will not gradually disappear with the passage of time, but it will become more and more unforgettable to him. Thinking of this time, he could have a bloody battle with Brahma's lineage. It's time to settle the old and new grudges. If you can't get back the principal, you can just calculate the interest. It's not that simple. Long Chen shook his head, his face serious. What? Xia Chen was taken aback. At this time, Long Chen is unprecedentedly powerful. He has followed Long Chen for too long, and no one knows Long Chen's strength better than him. However, Long Chen became stronger and became more cautious, which made him somewhat incomprehensible. You were led here to open the Emperor's way against Lin, and along the way, you did not meet any monster-level powerhouses of various races. And I met them and they were terrible. Long Chen's voice was a little low, and there was a trace of dignity in his eyes. He has become stronger, but this group of guys must not be idle. These guys carry a powerful mission. They must have a lot of cards. When fighting against him, the reason why they didn't play well was either insufficient strength or chance not here. But all of this can't escape Long Chen's powerful perception. The dangers that can be seen are not dangers. Those invisible things are fatal. Whether it was Long Zhe Brahmatianda, Li Changjing or Minglong Tianfeng, there was something terrible about them that made Long Chen tremble deep in his soul. Although Long Chen has now condensed 9 dragon blood veins, although Long Chen still firmly believes that no one within the same level can defeat him. But these guys don't care about any rules. Once they start fighting, group battles and will battles are inevitable. Although Long Chen is confident, he is not so conceited that he thinks that one person can suppress these guys. The most important thing is that these people are enemies on the bright side. In the Tianmai profound realm, thousands of races are fighting for the top. Who knows how many strong people like them are hidden? The pressure on Long Chen is enormous. Therefore, Long Chen should first ring the alarm bell for Xia Chen, be prepared for danger in times of peace. The more he stands on a high place, the more cautious he must be. Xia Chen's heart beat wildly when he heard it. He didn't expect that there were so many terrifying monsters in the Tianmai profound realm. Boom! Just as the two were talking, there was a sudden explosion, and Wanlong Nest trembled violently and was abruptly stopped by a huge force. Xia Chen was shocked to find that there was an extra stone wall in front of him at some point, and Wanlong's nest hit the stone wall, and the stone wall shattered. The huge countershock force stopped Wanlong's nest from moving forward. It's really a narrow road to the enemy. Long Chen came out and died, otherwise your tortoise shell will be smashed. At this moment, an arrogant and familiar voice resounded through the world. Chapter 56-62. The voice was majestic and powerful, but it was hoarse and unpleasant, like the sound of stones rubbing against each other, shaking the sky and the earth. It's really a narrow road to Yunjia. Long Chen couldn't help his heart beating wildly when he heard that voice. At this time, the 8 natal meridians behind Shui Yingfeng were stirring, and thousands of roads roared, overwhelming the heavens. Compared with the last battle, the coercion was much stronger. "Boss, let me meet him." When he saw Shui Yingfeng and felt his terrifying aura, Xia Chen's fighting spirit was suddenly aroused. It was the first time he had encountered such a terrifying opponent. He wanted to test his own strength and how much he had improved. This opponent was just right for him. "No, leave this guy to me." Long Chen shook his head. "What, boss? Are you afraid that I will lose? I'm 80% sure that I can beat him." Xia Chen said hastily. "It's useless to defeat him." Long Chen shook his head. Xia Chen didn't understand Long Chen's meaning for a while, but at this time, the Endless Blood Crystal Monster Lizard Clan's strongmen appeared in front of them. Xia Chen couldn't help but gasp when he saw the powerful members of the Blood Crystal Monster Lizard Clan appearing like a tide. Isn't that too much? There are tens of millions of powerful members of the Blood Crystal Monster Lizard Clan. The most important thing is that behind the Blood Crystal Monster Lizard Clan, there are many other monster clans that cannot be seen at a glance. It turns out that the Blood Crystal Monster Lizard Clan is coming fiercely, and they have already started to recruit their followers secretly, wanting to compete with the Sky Demon Golden Monkey Clan and compete for the position of leader of the Sky Demon Alliance. Before, Shui Yingfeng fought Long Chen in front of the Space Channel. Although he failed to kill Long Chen, the strength he showed was not weaker than Ho Tianwu, and even showed signs of surpassing him. As a result, the strong men of the Sky Demon Alliance began to be moved, and some grasshoppers saw that the situation was not good, and began to fall towards the Blood Crystal Monster Lizard Clan. Although Yaozu has a huge body and a big head, there is actually not much wisdom in it. Their thinking is very simple: I will follow whoever is strong, and over the years, they have also had enough of the bossing around of the Sky Demon and Golden Monkey Clan, and they want to change their masters. In the battle before the Space Channel, the Sky Demon Alliance was killed by a man and fled in embarrassment. Shui Yingfeng held high the banner of the Blood Crystal Monster Lizard Clan, promised many benefits, and directly took away a lot from the Sky Demon Alliance. Power. Not only Zhuang Fengfeng but also Xiang Tu. Nearly 1/3 of the forces in the Sky Demon Alliance were pulled away by the two, and Ho Tianwu was so angry that he vomited blood on the spot. After Shui Yingfeng took these people away, he merged with his own power. His power included some powerful people who were loyal to the Blood Crystal Monster Lizard Clan. In this way, the Blood Crystal Monster Lizard Clan's power instantly became stronger than ever. Shui Yingfeng led the crowd to fight against other demonic forces to compete for another space channel. The two sides fought evenly, and neither could suppress the other. Everyone knows that it doesn't make any sense to go on like this. In the end, both sides make concessions, draw boundaries, and share the power in the channel. However, it didn't take long for the two major forces to subside, and other forces came to fight for it. As a result, the melee continued and it became a mess, and no one could feel at ease to promote. In the end, everyone drew their own territories and formed more than a dozen circles of influence, surrounding the space passages and absorbing the power of Emperor Dao Nilin together. However, they spent a lot of energy in the process of fighting. Shui Yingfeng had just advanced to the Eight Veins Heavenly Sage when the space channel exploded and was ejected. However, the defense of the Blood Crystal Monster Lizard Clan is astonishing. In order to protect their followers, the Blood Crystal Monster Lizard Clan opened up the strongest defensive barrier and protected all the powerful members of the Monster Clan. However, the Blood Crystal Monster Lizard Clan, the Lizard Clan, also paid a heavy price, and more than half of them were injured. Seeing the Blood Crystal Monster Lizard Clan protecting them so much, the strong men of the Monster Clan were so moved that they swore to pledge their allegiance to the Blood Crystal Monster Lizard Clan forever. Seeing the unprecedented cohesion here, Shui Yingfeng's confidence is extremely inflated, as if he has ascended the throne of the leader of the Sky Demon Alliance. After the adjustment, he led the monster army to the core area, encountered some forces along the way, Shui Yingfeng gave an order, and the monster army swept away the opponent, which greatly satisfied Zhuang Feng's vanity. Just when he was full of ambition, he saw Wanlong's nest walking slowly, and he recognized Long Chen's Wanlong's nest at a glance, and directly blocked it. When Wanlong's nest was stopped, Zhuang Fengfeng stood in front of the formation. Behind were hundreds of super strong men, and the weakest one was also the Chimai Heavenly Sage, and there were more than 30 people like him. This lineup can be said to be extremely frightening. The 8 dragon veins behind Shui Yingfeng are churning, the earth is shaking, and endless crystals are born from the ground. As far as the eye can see, the earth has become a sea of crystals. Endless energy rises from the earth and gathers towards Shui Yingfeng. At this time, he seems to be the king of this world, ruling over everything in the world. Long Qin, come out and die. Zhuang Fengfeng stood in front of Wanlong's nest and shouted loudly. Wanlong's nest trembled, and Long Chen's figure emerged. His black clothes fluttered and his long hair fluttered. He looked a little thin, but facing the endless monster army, his eyes were calm. When Long Chen appeared, Shui Yingfeng's pupils shrank suddenly. The current Long Chen didn't have any fluctuations in dragon energy, let alone the breath of destiny, and even his blood became extremely obscure. The violent star power disappeared, and Long Chen seemed to have changed from a violent sea to a calm deep pool. But what was hidden behind his calm made Shui Yingfeng feel a tremor in his soul, and the current Long Chen became even more terrifying. When he fought Long Chen for the first time, he had 7 natal veins, while Long Chen only had 4.5. In this meeting, he condensed 8 natal veins, and his strength soared dozens of times. According to his estimation, Long Chen is at most a 6 meridian heavenly sage, and the chance of being able to condense the 7th natal meridian is almost negligible. Because of the natal meridian, the further the time goes, the more astonishing the consumption will be, and the time consumed will also increase dozens of times. He has the advantage of the realm, so when he saw Long Chen, he didn't even think about it, and killed him directly. Even if Long Chen advanced to the 6th or even the 7th vein, he was definitely not his opponent. However, the moment Long Chen appeared, he felt a tremor in his soul. The fire of battle that had been ignited before seemed to be poured with cold water, and his eyes became cloudy and uncertain. Is he Long Chen? A man with eagle eyes was stunned when he saw Long Chen, and then he said suspiciously, "He is a new member who just joined the Blood Crystal Monster Lizard team." He thought who Shui Yingfeng was going to challenge, but it turned out to be such a weak-looking human race. Human ants, you don't need Master Yingfeng to take him down. The eagle-eyed man was also an 8-veined heavenly saint-level powerhouse, and his eyes flickered with a cold light, and his figure suddenly disappeared. Snapped. The moment he disappeared, Long Chen's big hand poked into the void, ripples in the void. A figure was pinched by Long Chen's neck and pulled out of the space like a chicken. What? At that moment, Shui Yingfeng's pupils suddenly shrank. Chapter 5663. Long Chen grabbed the eagle-eyed man's neck with his big hands and grabbed him out of the hidden space. At that moment, the eagle-eyed man's eyes were full of fear. His eyes contained the power of space, and he was good at sneak attacks. He was originally the heavenly sage of 8 meridians, so he didn't pay attention to Long Chen at all. He didn't summon the power of Tianmai. On the one hand, he wanted to make a quicker move, and on the other hand, he didn't want to make Long Chen wary, and wanted to take down Long Chen with an opportunistic blow. However, I didn't expect that just when he came to Long Chen in the invisible space, he was caught by Long Chen. Remember, you were not killed by me, but by yourself. Long Chen looked at the frightened eagle-eyed man and exerted a little force on his palms. Click! The sound of the bones breaking spread throughout the audience, and the eagle-eyed man trembled all over, the light in his eyes slowly extinguished, and the power of his soul gradually dissipated. Call! Long Chen waved his hand, and when he threw the man into the chaotic space, he had turned into a giant bird. If it was normal, Long Chen would have thrown him directly into the black soil, but when Ah Man returns, this is Ah Man's food. As Long Chen said, this eagle-eyed man did not die in Long Chen's hands, but in his own hands. He underestimated the enemy. And Shui Yingfeng didn't remind him that Shui Yingfeng also wanted to test Long Chen through the eagle-eyed man. Who would have thought that this guy would be so arrogant and give his life for nothing? Zhuang Fengfeng, are you scared? Long Chen stood with his hands behind his back and looked at Zhuang Fengfeng. From Zhuang Feng's eyes, he saw fear, and a sneer appeared on the corner of his mouth, who just kept yelling, "Let me Long, come out and die. Now that Long has come out, what about you?" Crunch. Long Chen's ridicule immediately made Shui Yingfeng angry. He is the proud prince of the blood crystal monster lizard. He clenched his fists and walked towards Long Chen. Boom boom boom. A spar giant dragon emerged from behind him, and a total of 8 giant dragons emerged. The vast power of destiny distorted the whole world. The bloody wind at this time was dozens of times stronger than the aura of Qimai Tianxing. Stupid human race, last time it was just a trick to get away with it. If it wasn't for that barbarian's arrival, you would have been torn to pieces. Although I don't know why your breath has changed, but let me tell you, no matter what conspiracy you have, you will definitely die today. Zhuang Fengfeng shouted coldly, and after finishing speaking, Zhuang Fengfeng stretched out his big hand. Boom! The void exploded, and a long-handled battle axe appeared in his hand. The body and handle of the battle axe were inlaid with countless gems, and bloody runes flowed on each gem. As soon as the axe appeared, Long Chen immediately felt his hair stand on end, as if he was being targeted by a prehistoric beast, and a feeling of extreme danger rose from Long Chen's heart. Wow, it seems that this is your real method. I'm very surprised. Why didn't you take it out last time? Long Chen looked at the long-handled battle axe. Huh? Shui Yingfeng looked up to the sky and laughed loudly. At that time, you were not qualified to die in its hands. Go ahead and brag about it. At that time, you either didn't get it, or you didn't have the ability to motivate it. Apart from these 2 reasons, they'll take your head off and give it to you. Long Chen said with a look of disdain. The last time Shui Yingfeng was killed by Long Chen, he almost died, and later he was hunted down by a man, so he almost cried for his father and mother. If he had the means, he would have used it long ago. Long Chen didn't believe that he had reservations. Shui Yingfeng was furious, but he couldn't refute Long Chen. This blood lizard battle axe is the treasure of the blood crystal monster lizard clan, and it is also a soldier of the emperor. Without the power of the god emperor, it is impossible to drive it. Even if Shui Yingfeng has the blood of the royal family in his body, he still cannot be awakened. It was only when he advanced to the 8th meridian heavenly sage and his natal power exploded that he barely awakened it. Although he can't control this battle axe now, he only needs to control part of its power. He thinks that no one is his opponent anymore, so the confidence is extremely inflated. Now that the blood lizard battle axe was summoned, the confidence that was intimidated by Long Chen just now returned and became full of confidence. Stop talking nonsense. Your companions are all in this Wanlong's nest. Hee, you don't have to be afraid. When I kill you, I will split the Wanlong's nest with the blood lizard battle axe, and your companions will be killed, sent to the ground to accompany you. However, I'm sorry for one thing. I've taken a fancy to the goddess of Fengshenhage. I can't bear to kill her. Shui Yingfeng laughed while carrying the blood lizard battle axe. However, his laughter was soon interrupted by a bang. Long Chen appeared in front of Zhuang Fengfeng like a ghost, and slapped him on the face. Boom! With a bang, Shui Yingfeng's head covered with crystals was slapped by Long Chen and turned into dust. The sudden change shocked the powerhouses of the monster clan. 9 dragon veins emerged from Long Chen's palm. The moment Shui Yingfeng's head was smashed, those rune cultures shot out as 9 giant dragons and disappeared in the air. Not see. Are you a pig? You only remember to eat but not to beat? Long Chen slapped Shui Yingfeng's head into pieces with a slap and sneered. Shui Yingfeng's head exploded, but he didn't die. He flew upside down, and his head soon grew out again. Damn ants, today I will crush you to ashes. Shui Yingfeng roared. Boom! While roaring, Shui Yingfeng raised the blood lizard battle axe in his hand, and the 8 heavenly veins on his back ignited, and the endless power of the heavenly veins poured into the battle axe in an instant, and the spars on the battle axe were ignited bright. Call, the battle axe shook the sky and slashed at Long Chen. This blow contained all the power of Shui Yingfeng. Obviously, he wanted to fight Long Chen with one move. Shui Yingfeng also knew that in melee combat, he was not Long Chen's opponent, and he was inferior to Long Chen in terms of combat experience. The best way to kill Long Chen was to win with one move, without giving Long Chen any tricks. There are too many people who want to kill me, it depends on whether you have the ability. Faced with Shui Yingfeng's full blow, Long Chen sneered, and suddenly the void trembled behind him. The sound of dragon chant resounded through the eternal sky, and 9 giant dragons emerged. All the powerhouses of the monster clan heard the sound of the dragon chant in their ears, and felt that their souls and 6 souls were about to be shattered, and they were unable to move under the pressure of the sacred dragon's might. 9 Meridians Heavenly Sage? At that moment, Shui Yingfeng was shocked to discover that Long Chen was actually the 9 Meridians Heavenly Sage. At this time, he had no time to be shocked, so he could only bite the bullet and inject all the power into the Blood Lizard Battle Axe without reservation. Cut off with Long Chen. However, in the face of Shui Yingfeng's berserk blow, Long Chen did not use his weapon. Under the horrified eyes of countless people, he opened his big hand, and the dragon scales appeared on the palm of his hand, and 9 dragon patterns flowed. Chapter 56-64 Boom, the explosion shook the sky was disillusioned, and the Blood Lizard Battle Axe, which contained the life force of Zhuangfengfeng, slashed fiercely on Long Chen's palm. The powerhouses of the monster clan looked at the picture in front of them in horror. The giant axe, which was bigger than the table, just stayed in the void, and the destructive power it contained had already disappeared into nothing. Long Chen held the back with one hand and held the Blood Lizard Battle Axe in the other. His clothes fluttered and his long hair fluttered. In the void, he was as solid as a rock and never moved half a step. However, the void under his feet had already split open like a spider web, and the cracks spread tens of thousands of miles away. At that moment, the picture seemed to freeze, the world also lost its sound, and the whole scene was dead silent. Tick tick tick. Suddenly, bright red blood slowly dripped down the giant axe. Long Chen is injured, the powerhouses of the monster clan suddenly shouted excitedly, but they soon lost their excitement, because looking carefully, the blood was nothing more than an inch-deep cut in Long Chen's palm. On the other hand, Shui Yingfeng's face was as pale as paper, and his body was trembling constantly. It was not known whether it was because of fear, or because he had overdrawn too much strength. At this time, his face was full of horror. He couldn't believe that Long Chen had condensed 9 natal veins, and they were dragon blood veins. Now he finally understood why when he saw Long Chen, he would feel a kind of uneasiness and fear from the depths of his soul. The Yaozu has always been a subordinate of the Dragon Clan, and also a courtier of the Dragon Clan. At this time, the dragon's blood and heavenly veins erupted, and his body was a little disobedient because of being suppressed. Suddenly Zhuangfeng's body retreated suddenly, turned into a stream of light, and disappeared in an instant. He even abandoned the Blood Lizard Battle Axe in his hand and fled. Boom! However, the moment he disappeared, the void suddenly trembled, and a barrier composed of spar emerged, and he was directly bounced back by the barrier. What? Shui Yingfeng was terrified. He used the unique evasion technique of the Blood Crystal Monster Lizard Clan, but it didn't work. It'll blow your head off first, and then use your natal power to set up a barrier, just to prevent you from escaping. I've been coveting your life for a long time. Long Chen chuckled. The Blood Lizard Battle Axe fell into Long Chen's hands, and he stepped forward with a big wave. No, Zhuangfengfeng let out a miserable scream. Puff Shui Yingfeng's hard body was originally invulnerable, but it couldn't withstand the cut of the Blood Lizard's battle axe, and was split in half by the axe, killing him instantly. Boom! Shui Yingfeng died, and his body exploded, turning into dust and scattered all over the sky. At that moment, Long Chen was very nervous. His mind sank into the chaotic space, his eyes fixed on the top of the Heavenly Dao tree, until a Heavenly Dao fruit covered with spar patterns appeared, and Long Chen breathed a sigh of relief. Warriors, it's your turn. Long Chen shouted excitedly. Following Long Chen's order, the gate of Wanlong's nest opened, and the disciples of Dragon Blood Warrior, Hidden Dragon Warrior, and Fengshen Hage rushed out like a tide. Kill. The Dragon Blood Warriors rushed into the flock like tigers one by one, specially picking the most powerful monster clan powerhouse to attack. Xia Chen had been feeling uncomfortable for a long time, so he chose a strong man who was second only to Xue Yingfeng in strength, and killed him. The endless talismans were thrown away as if he didn't want money. Boom 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 boom. Before the eight-veined heavenly sage could see where the enemy was, he was battered by the endless runes, and his defenses couldn't resist the violent runes, and he was soon bruised all over his body. Take it easy, it's all Aman's food. Aman likes to eat whole food and doesn't like porridge. Seeing that Xia Chen was going to blow that guy into pieces, Long Chen shouted, "Aman doesn't look down on those weak monsters, you can kill them as you like, but for those powerful ones, it's best to leave them a whole body." Laugh, holding a long spear, Gu Yang rushed towards a heavenly sage with 8 meridians. When a burst of sword energy struck, the divine light for protecting the body of the heavenly saint with 8 meridians was cut like cutting tofu, and his whole body was split into 2. "Wainer," Long Chen shouted angrily. I just want to try." Tang Wainer split the man into 2 pieces with a sword, and seeing Long Chen's expression again, she hurriedly explained. "Try it out? You are all heavenly sages of the 10 meridians, with the power of the 10 meridians fully activated. If you try it 10,000 times, that guy will die 10,000 times. Even if you try, you will still try with the power of the 8 meridians?" "Sorry," seeing Long Chen's speechless expression, Tang Wainer hurriedly apologized, but the girl apologized on the surface, but there seemed to be no apology in her eyes, but a look of complacency on the contrary. Obviously she was very satisfied with her own strength. "Well, you are already a sage of 10 veins, you have the highest cultivation here, who dares to care about you? If you are in a hurry, why don't you give me 2 swords? Long Chen, is my sword okay?" Tang Wainer came to Long Chen's side and said with a smile, "You are killing chickens with a sledgehammer." Long Chen couldn't help but smiled wryly. However, it has to be said that the 10 meridian heavenly sage is too strong, and he can still use the power of the 10 meridians without revealing the dragon veins. This attack shows only the tip of the iceberg of Tang Wainer's strength. If Tang Wainer's 10 pulses were fully opened, Long Chen couldn't imagine how strong her strength would be. There is a huge watershed between the 10 veins and the 9 veins, but Tang Wainer is Long Chen's lover, although Long Chen can perceive her strength, but whether she can be stronger than him, Long Chen can't judge. Practitioners often judge the strength of others based on their perception of danger, but no matter how powerful Tang Wainer is, she is unlikely to bring danger to Long Chen, so Long Chen cannot judge Tang Wainer's current strength. Puff puff. The Dragon Blood Warriors rushed into the enemy group, one by one, like tigers entering a herd of sheep, almost no generals, the fierce and domineering attack method. Even the Hidden Dragon Warriors felt terrified. Although under Long Chen's guidance, they have become real warriors, but even though they have been honed through life and death, they still look so immature in front of Dragon Blood Warriors. Hidden Dragon fighters often need to fight fiercely with their opponents for several moves before they can find out the opponent's weaknesses and carry out precise strikes, but Dragon Blood fighters almost always kill with one move, and they can find out the opponent's weaknesses without even probing. The Dragon Blood Warriors rely entirely on their intuition to face the enemy, and this intuition is accumulated from countless brushes with death. The gap between the Blood Warriors is only combat experience. The strength of the Dragon Blood Warriors inspired the will of the Hidden Dragon Warriors not to admit defeat, and they are also frantically attacking the master camp of the monster race. Where have the strong monster racers encountered such a ruthless human race? Almost as soon as it came into contact, corpses were scattered all over the field, and they were defeated instantly. Xue Yingfeng was killed, except for those top experts around Xue Yingfeng. The experts of the Blood Crystal Monster Lizard clan became the focus of care of the Dragon Blood Warriors. Although the Blood Crystal Monster Lizard clan is known as the descendant of the Demon Queen, they can only be slaughtered in the face of the ferocious Dragon Blood Warriors. Although their numbers are much larger than here, once they make a move, they have no power to fight back, and the corpses are scattered all over the field in an instant. The most important thing is that the most terrifying Long Chen has not yet made a move. Wonderful, they gave up resistance in an instant and fled away one after another. The battle ended almost before it fully started. Many disciples of Feng Shenhage didn't kill a single enemy from the beginning to the end because of their slow reaction. Isn't it too perverted? The disciples of Fengshanhai Pavilion felt a little uncomfortable. You must know that they are also strong people with ancient seals. They used to be the arrogance of the world, and they ate meat, but they didn't even grab a bite of the soup. This kind of blow was too great. Li Qi Mingyuan, come here, there are benefits for you. After the battle was over, Long Chen was holding a heavenly Dao fruit, his eyes filled with anticipation. Chapter 5665. This is inside Wanlong's nest. When Li Qi and Song Mingyuan saw the destiny fruit in Long Chen's hands, they couldn't help their hearts beating wildly. That day, the divine light flowed on the fruit of destiny, and the crystal-like skin exuded endless energy of the earth element. Li Qi and Song Mingyuan were both strong in the earth element, and they could see the preciousness of the fruit of destiny at a glance. This is the heavenly Dao fruit of Zuing Fengfeng. If you eat it, you will have the same power as him. Long Chen said. Song Mingyuan and Li Qi couldn't help shrinking their pupils. When Long Chen fought fiercely with Xue Yingfeng, they witnessed the horror of the crystal energy. There are many heavenly Dao fruits like this, but only Zuing Feng's heavenly Dao fruit contains mutated energy, which is why, perhaps this mutated energy comes from the secret of his imperial blood. So, you two discuss who will digest this heavenly Dao fruit. Long Chen said. Let Li Qi come. Song Mingyuan said without hesitation. Mingyuan, why is this? Li Qi asked. In fact, whichever of the two of them ate the heavenly Dao fruit was the same. He wanted to give Song Mingyuan the opportunity. Just as Song Mingyuan was about to explain, Long Chen said, Mingyuan is right, you are more suitable for this heavenly Dao fruit. I should have given it to you directly, but I must respect Mingyuan's opinion. Boss, why is that? Li Qi asked. The power of the earth is the power of the earth, thick and humble, able to carry all things without taking credit, and give birth to all things without being arrogant. At the beginning, the two of you obtained the power of the thick earth at the same time, and your personalities became peaceful due to the influence of the power of the thick earth. But Li Qi, your nature is strong, and the power of Hutu is more aggressive, while Mingyuan's personality is gentle, which is more in line with the soft nature of the earth. The power of Spar is a kind of killing power. It is known for its fierceness, which is more in line with your personality, and your dragon soul is also more in line with it. Long Chen explained. But taking such a big advantage, I feel uneasy. Li Qi couldn't help scratching his head. Don't you think it's hypocritical for my brother to say such things? Song Mingyuan said angrily. Long Chen said with a smile, there is nothing to worry about. I will pass on the dragon veins you gathered with the power of the thick soil to Song Mingyuan, which is equivalent to compensation for Mingyuan. In this way, you will return to the original state of Tianxing, and all dragon veins will be recondensed. Is that okay? The two were shocked. In the secret room of Wanlong's nest, the three of them sat cross-legged on the ground. Li Qi's big hand was on Song Mingyuan's back, and Long Chen was on Li Qi's back. Behind Long Chen, the dragon's blood and heavenly veins circulated, the vast dragon's power surged, and endless dragon veins spewed out, and Li Qi's body trembled violently. It will be very painful to peel off the dragon veins of life, so bear with it. Long Chen said. Boss, don't worry, just do it. Li Qi gritted his teeth and said, Suddenly his body trembled violently, and a dragon vein emerged from his back, and just as the dragon vein emerged, it was blasted by the power of Long Chen's 9 veins. Li Qi groaned in pain, and blood slid down the corner of his mouth. However, Li Qi always maintained a fixed posture, and his natal dragon vein was shattered. He had to control his instincts and could not resist. The shattered dragon vein finally turned into a ball of pure energy, which was sent into Song Mingyuan's body along Li Qi's arm. An hour later, Long Chen's face was a little pale, but he breathed a sigh of relief. Everything went smoothly. But Li Qi had passed out at this time, and his whole body seemed to be drained dry. All the power of his dragon veins was transferred to Song Minjiwan's body by Long Chen. The power of the thick earth in Song Minjiwan's body was constantly flowing, and the violent energy made him extremely uncomfortable. Li Qi, wake up. Long Chen woke up Li Qi, and Li Qi's eyelids seemed to weigh 1,000 catties. No matter how hard he tried to open them, he could barely open a gap. Concentrate and calm down. Absorb the energy of the heavenly Dao fruit with all your strength, and guide them into the Dantian. Long Chen pinched Li Qi's big mouth open, and the heavenly Dao fruit in his hand turned into juice, which slowly flowed into Li Qi's mouth. At this time, Li Qi seemed to be on a riverbed that had been dry for thousands of years. When the juice of the destiny fruit fell into his mouth, his spirits lifted and his eyes opened instantly. After devouring the entire heavenly Dao fruit, Li Qi's aura began to change, from gentle to fierce, and octagonal spar runes appeared in his eyes, and his eyes became sharp and fierce. Ka ka ka. Then pieces of crystal stones the size of soybeans emerged from his face, covering his whole body in an instant, as if wearing a piece of spar armor. Li Qi's aura is sharp and fierce, completely different from before. Although the Tianmai Dragon Qi has completely disappeared and he has returned to the state of entering the heavenly sacred realm, his aura fluctuates at this time, which is definitely not as strong as condensing and natal dragon vein. The strong are poor. This is a bit scary. Looking at Li Qi, Song Mingyuan couldn't help but gasped. As a strong man of the Earth system, no one knows Li Qi's terrifying potential better than him. Today's Li Qi is no longer the former Li Qi. Suddenly Li Qi's whole body trembled, and a dragon shadow appeared on the spar, and the dragon shadow swam back and forth on the spar around him. It seems that it is very satisfied with your current ability. Long Chen smiled. Thank you, boss and Mingyuan, for your success. I will never let you down. Feeling the violent crystal power in his body, Li Qi's voice trembled with excitement. This crystal power was tailor-made for him. Even the dragon soul appeared automatically, and he liked the power of the spar so much, he took the initiative to inject the power of the dragon soul into each spar to help him fit in with the spar. Long Chen handed the huge blood lizard battle axe to Li Qi. This battle axe is the treasure inherited from the blood crystal monster lizard clan. Outsiders can't control it at all. However, Long Chen brought it into the chaotic space, and its soul imprint was directly imprinted by the chaotic space. Erase. Long Chen kept its tool spirit, but after the memory of the tool spirit was erased, it was like a blank sheet of paper. Li Qi, who possessed the power of spar, could easily make it recognize its master. Xue Yingfeng is really a good man, even the weapons are ready for me. Li Qi took the blood lizard battle axe, felt the terrifying energy of the blood lizard battle axe, and couldn't help but excitedly said, possessing the power of spar and having this terrifying hand of magic weapon, Li Qi is like a tiger with wings added. Even though he doesn't even have a dragon energy in the sky, he still feels full of confidence. Okay, let's condense the Tianmai dragon energy at ease in Wanlong's nest. Now you need to start from scratch. However, with the assistance of this magical weapon, you can gather the dragon energy of the sky veins very quickly. Long Chen said. Okay. Li Qi suppressed his excitement, put the blood lizard battle axe in front of his knees, made seals with his hands, and began to recondense the dragon energy of Tianmai. Long Chen and Song Mingyuan walked out of the secret room. When the door of the secret room was slowly closed, Song Mingyuan looked at the door and couldn't help sighing. Li Qi in the future will surely shine like a comet. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.